How's it going there, folks? Welcome to it. It's sure to be another fun at-home table read tonight. We're doing another unmade script. This one, Batman DarKnight. It's terrible with as a title, but it should be a fun one. This was almost made in the aftermath of the Schumacher Batman movies. They wanted to go a little darker with it. I think it's going to be a fun read. But let's jump right into introducing ourselves.
Hello, I'm George, and I'll be doing the action description.
I'm Curtis, and I'm going to be playing Batman.
I'm Erik. I'll be Robin.
Hi, I'm Anne. I will be Alfred Pennyworth at your service.
I'm Logan. I'm going to be Jonathan Crane.
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm going to be Kirk.
I'm Chelsea, and I will be Francine Langstrom.
Why, hello there, I'm Travis, and I'm playing Commissioner Gordon.
Somehow even muted himself during his own introduction. Anyway, George, take us away.
All right, Batman DarKnight, one word. Story and screenplay by Lee Shapiro and Stephen Watt. Based on characters created by Bob Kane, boo, Bill Finger, yay. Frank Robbins and Neil Adams appearing in DC Comics. Fade in, exterior sky, night, POV. A full moon illuminates storm-drenched clouds that obscure the ground. Plunge through the clouds toward Gotham City skyline. A green haze envelops the city. Skyscraper windows pierce the gloom like cold yellow eyes. The erratic flight continues into downtown Gotham. A jungle of moist decaying brick, stone, metal, and glass. The Halloween decorations seem natural, not seasonal. Careening around structures through dark alleys and into streets loaded with pedestrians and traffic, heading for Gotham Park. Dead leaves blow past. The world spins upside down. The flight ends in a barren tree. Blackness, a loud screech. Interior Gotham State University Zoology Building, night. A canvas bag arrives. From within, a squeal. Dr. Kirk Langstrom, 30, stocky, lab coat, slicked hair, unshaven, carries the bag through the opulent lobby, passing over the university seal engraved in the floor. His footfalls echo as he passes the janitor, jamming the headphones while sweeping the floor. The janitor pauses, smiles, lowers his headphones.
Another late night, Dr. Langstrom?
Kirk continues through an archway marked Science Department. The janitor's smile fades.
Prick.
He resets his headphones, blasts the volume, and resumes his work. Corridor. Kirk unlocks the door, then enters the room. The door shuts behind him. Through the door's frosty glass window, a light comes on. The inscription on the glass, Dr. Kirk Langstrom, Zoology Department. Kirk's lab, sterile, neat, modern. A variety of instruments, chemicals, and caged docile animals. A full moon shines through a large window. Kirk upends the bag into an empty cage. A large bat falls out, fluttering in the confined space. Kirk sticks a finger between the bars to calm the occupant. The bat eyes the finger as it gets closer, then bares its fangs. A dog, Valerie, jumps up on Kirk, pushing him back from the cage just as the bat strikes.
What the? Valerie?
Valerie's tail wags. Kirk turns, expecting to find Francine, 30, glasses, hair tucked under a stocking cap. An overcoat hides her sleepwear. The perfect blend of academia, scientist, and model. A leash dangles in one hand.
You were in such a hurry to leave me again, you forgot something.
Kirk just stares, confused. Francine takes his hand and drops a hearing aid into it. He inserts it in his ear and smiles.
Thanks for remembering it.
I was talking about a kiss.
Down, girl.
Valerie returns to 4 on the floor, transfixed by the bat on the lab table. Kirk sits facing the table, pats the dog's head.
You're the only person she does that to, you know.
Lucky me.
Engrossed in his work, Francine's hopeful eyes fixate on her husband, an awkward moment.
I was serious about that kiss.
Kirk blows her a half-hearted kiss, then returns to his work. Her smile fades, not what she wanted.
Guess the real one will have to wait.
Deflated, she leashes Valerie and turns to leave. He grabs her arm, stopping her.
Francine, you gave me my hearing tonight. If successful, I can restore that and so much more to millions like me, permanently. But you especially know I'm here for the same grant as my colleagues. I need you to be a patient just a little longer.
Understanding. A faint smile lightens her face.
I'll wait up for you.
She tugs on the leash. She and Valerie exit. Later, Kirk rubs his eyes. He dons a headset, clicks a switch on its cable, and speaks into the mic.
In comparison to previous attempts, the latest mutagenic catalyst batch.
He produces a syringe filled with a colored, thick liquid. Its label reads, number KLMSE 013, specimen bat.
KLMSE 13 appears to be stable. First step towards treating sensory impairment at the genetic level. The sensory deprived will be able to replace missing senses or enhance existing ones using animal genomes. All that remains is a test subject phase.
In a cage on the table in front of him, a rat.
Should the board choose my work for the Wayne grant,
The lights go off. Flickering Bunsen burners dot the darkness. Perplexed, Kirk rises to his feet and scans the shadowy lab.
It would be guilty of nepotism.
The animals grow silent. The moon retreats behind clouds. Kirk stops the recording.
Jonathan? Is that
Address me as Dr. Crane.
Dr. Crane? You know this has nothing to do with Francine. She's abstaining from voting.
Not influencing any of the remaining board members.
A burner goes out.
You're a man of science. Think rationally. The Board of Regents has always been impartial. They only select the research which most benefits
Their bank accounts.
I'm afraid I don't have time for this.
Afraid. You don't know the meaning of the word.
Another burner goes out. Kirk strains his eyes, scanning the room. He raises the syringe like a weapon.
Please step into the light, Doctor.
Deaf and blind as a bat. You have taken a leave of your senses.
Chuckling. Another burner goes out. Kirk remains still like one of his caged animals.
This isn't funny.
A tall, lanky shape creeps up behind Kirk. His hand, a spiderweb of old scars, hovers over the burner. The flesh chars, but he doesn't react. His palm extinguishes the flame.
What's that smell?
Jonathan inhales.
Fear.
A crash behind Kirk. He spins, raising the syringe. An open, empty cage on the floor. The lab rat scurries away. Over Kirk's shoulder, Dr. Jonathan Crane, 40, hollow complexion, a ponytail of musk, stringy hair, steps into the light.
Boo.
Kirk spins again, ready to plunge the syringe. Jonathan holds up his hand, steps confused with the situation.
Damn it, Crane. I almost...
A smile crosses Jonathan's face. Kirk relents, still on edge.
Happy Halloween.
Sometimes I think you're just as insane as your patients at Arkham.
He places the syringe on the table and fixes his workstation, ignoring Jonathan. Jonathan's demeanor darkens. His body quivers. Distant, indistinct voices, children chanting. Only Jonathan hears them. After a painful moment, stability resumes.
Have I ever shown you my work, Doctor?
Kirk turns toward him again.
No, and quite frankly, I'm not.
A cloud of gas erupts from Jonathan's outstretched arm, striking Kirk in the face. Kirk stumbles backward, choking, covers his mouth.
What the hell are you doing?
Swapping one rat for another.
I'll kill you, Crane.
Oh, there's a monster in you.
Kirk lunges towards Jonathan. Kirk's POV. His world blinks on and off like a random shutter.
What's happening to me?
Everything goes pitch black. Kirk's lab. Kirk stumbles forward, bumping into an adjacent table and knocking over more instruments.
Please, help me.
I just did.
Like a blind man, hands outstretched, Kirk shuffles through the mess, crunching glass underfoot on his fear. Jonathan picks up Kirk's recorder and hits play.
Should the board choose my work for the Wayne grant,
It will be guilty of nepotism.
Jonathan presses delete on the recorder.
No need to have that.
He drops the recorder and heads for the door.
I'll see myself out. Oh, my condolences on your failure.
He leaves.
come back, Crane. Come back.
He slips, falls backwards against the table. His hand slams against more glass. He recoils, draws his hand away. Embedded in his palm and fingers, tiny shards of glass, multiple cuts, and a colored thick liquid, not his blood. He smells the liquid, dabs a small taste to his tongue.
No, oh no, oh no.
Frantic, he searches the table. His eyesight returns, and he sees the label and glass bits of his syringe. Kirk's veins swell throughout his body. His body writhes, then falls to the floor, doubled over. The headset falls off, burrowing itself under the table. After several spasms, Kirk grows still. The moon peeks from behind the clouds, bathing the lab in cold, diffuse light. The docile animals grow relentless or restless. They scurry and wail from within their cages. A quasi-human shadow falls across the room. Foyer. A human cry that morphs into something inhuman, disrupts the otherwise tranquil night, echoing throughout the building. Undisturbed, the janitor finishes his work, still jamming to the loud music emanating from his headphones. Interior Langstrom bedroom, night. Francine wakes, sitting bolt upright. She glances at the empty space next to her and then at the clock. She swings out of bed. At the foot of the bed, Valerie perks up and watches her. Interior Gotham State University corridor, night. At one end of the dark hallway, Francine sees the light flickering from within her husband's lab. She quickens her approach. She reaches the closed door. The light behind the frosted windows strobes wildly. She knocks and opens the door.
Kirk?
Kirk's lab, a disaster area, broken glass and instruments, pools of various liquids. Freed animals scurry about. Their gnarled cages lie strewn around the room. The overheads hang from the rafters, flickering and sparking.
Kirk! Oh my god, Kirk!
Francine wades through the mess and scans for her husband. She hears a thud from the storage cabinet and moves towards it.
Kirk? Is that you?
Francine opens the cabinet. The bat bursts out, startling him. She follows its escape towards the large window, the glass of which is now shattered. Unmoving, her face aghast, she watches the bat disappear into the night sky and across the full moon. Exterior Wayne Manor, night. Under the full moon, a solitary figure stands on an upper story balcony, staring towards a distant Gotham City. Interior Bruce's bedroom, night. The dark and spacious room, while indicative of wealth, is bare of any personal touches. A breeze blows through the set of French doors, billowing the curtains that frame the solitary figure beyond. A knock. Hallway. Alfred Pennyworth, 70, with a silver tray of food, knocks on the door in front of him. Despite the late hours, he is still dressed appropriately as a butler.
Sir, I do wish you'd eat something. You must keep up your strength.
No response.
I had hoped that the days of talking to you through doors had ended after adolescence.
Again, no response. Alfred tries the door and it opens. He enters. Bruce's bedroom. Alfred sets the tray on the bed, then approaches the French doors to address Bruce Wayne, late 30s, who remains in shadow outside on the balcony.
Anxious to fly again?
Flying's for animals, not man.
A man, not a monster. Is that it, sir? So I seem to recall you are a little of both.
We all make our choices, Alfred, and I alone must deal with those consequences.
No, you are correct, except for one thing. You are not alone. Not yet, anyway.
Alfred exits the room. Interior Kirk's lab, night. Police sift through the debris and place certain items into plastic evidence bags. A young journalist for the college paper snaps pictures. Commissioner Gordon, 50s, uses a pen to lift a hearing aid from the floor.
That's Kirk's hearing aid. He was wearing it earlier.
Francine steps under some police tape that barricades the lab's doorway.
Mrs. Langstrom, there's really nothing more you could do here. Why don't you go home and get some rest?
When can I collect Kirk's personal effects?
Not until the case is closed, I'm afraid.
Gordon escorts Francine to the door. Some say that the Batman was seen in this vicinity last night. Coincidence, Commissioner? The journalist holds a digital recorder to Gordon's face. Gordon pushes it away.
There's no more Batman.
Interior classroom auditorium day. Jonathan paces on a small stage before the stadium seating. A slideshow projected onto a screen behind him displays photos of test subjects being subjected to episodes of intense terror.
Acute phobia disorder. The incapacitation of physical functionality due to both mental and emotional fixation on external stimuli that the subject deems scary.
A few chuckles from the mostly disinterested students.
However, there are some for whom terror is as addictive and stimulating as sex.
Yeah, those who can't get any.
Heyo, this elicits a larger laugh from the class. Jonathan glares at his students and presses on.
Consider the two possible responses to phobic-induced stimuli. We've already discussed flight or fright, as I like to call it, whereby a person simply flees from or succumbs to a horrific situation.
A slight smile splits his face.
Fight, however, is more interesting. Under the right circumstances, fear can empower an individual and produce amazing effects, such as increased strength. Fear is eternal.
You make it sound like being afraid is somehow positive.
Isn't it? Whether it's your own augmented strength or the incapacitation of your enemy, fear can be a powerful, addictive
weapon.
Grayson, since you seem hell-bent on making my lecture a debate, please stand so I can see you.
Dick Grayson, early 20s, shoulder-length hair, rises from his seat in the midst of the students.
How about some sense, Doc?
The students have now become engaged in this exchange.
Through systematic desensitization, one can face one's fears and overcome a potential impairment to a normal, healthy lifestyle.
Excellent textbook recitation, albeit naive. Fear is a part of us. Rather than dismiss it as a weakness, we should reap positive benefits.
How?
Scientific research, Mr. Grayson. Through the use of test subjects.
Crazy if you believe anyone would volunteer for that.
Is it crazy to expose the true nature, beauty, and power of fear?
That sounds unorthodox at best and highly questionable at worst.
What are you so afraid of, Mr. Grayson? Nothing is so much to be feared as fear itself. Henry David Thoreau.
Don't fear the Reaper. Blue Oyster Cult.
The clock tower chime sounds and the students exit, laughing and murmuring. Jonathan watches the auditorium empty out, his hands trembling.
Perhaps I have my first volunteer after all, Mr. Grayson.
Exterior university courtyard day. Dick pushes through the foot traffic of students and passes a stuffed scarecrow wearing rustic, tattered clothing that has been affixed to a pole in the middle of the grass. A sign pinned to the scarecrow's chest announces the school Halloween dance. A school newspaper blows across the lawn and presses up against the scarecrow's leg. Dick notices the word Batman peeking out from the crease. He picks up the newspaper and unfolds it to find a photo of Kirk Langstrom and the headline, "Mysterious Disappearance. Is the Batman responsible?" The subheader reads, "Possible link between the missing Dr. Kirk Langstrom and the Caped Crusaders' return." Interior faculty lounge day. A mixed group of professors occupied the room, eating and gossiping.
The man shouldn't be allowed around innocent students.
Kenya, what are you going to do?
But even he won't protect him if he steps too far out of line.
I hear Arkham's full of his volunteers.
Oh, Lichabod's days are numbered, I'm afraid.
A loud sounds behind them. They turn to find Jonathan standing in the doorway, his face ashen, pale, hurt. His books and papers lie scattered across the floor.
Dr. Crane, we were just...
Oh, what did you call me?
I didn't mean anything by it.
Ichabod?
Jonathan cocks his head, listening to distant voices on the huge ears.
We're gonna get ya, Ichabod. Ichabod.
Jonathan shuts his eyes.
Scaredy cat, scaredy cat, scaredy cat.
You know what you must do?
Jonathan opens his eyes again.
No disrespect, they have names for all of us, nothing to lose your head over, right?
Jonathan's eyes narrow. He spins and exits the room.
Yep, his days are numbered.
Interior University Psychology Department, day. Jonathan barges past the secretary, who makes a failed attempt to stop him.
Good afternoon, Dr. Crane. May I?
Ignoring her, Jonathan enters a private office and slams the door shut. A sign on the door, Dean Roger Hallowell, ID. Dean Hallowell's office. Dean Roger Hallowell, 60s, looks up from his work at Jonathan, who paces, trembling before him.
Jonathan?
I need your help again, Roger.
Roger stands and directs Jonathan to the nearby couch.
Why don't you lie down and we'll talk about it?
Jonathan moves to the couch as Roger preps a journal. Exterior Gotham City, dusk. The sun disappears behind the skyline. Exterior downtown Gotham, night. Gotham's nightlife emerges and floods the city with human activity. High above them, lurking in the shadows, an inhuman shape watches the proceedings. With a rush of air, a brown blur takes flight. Sidewalk. A large winged creature or shadow passes over a crowd of citizens. Many of them stop, point, and mutter amongst themselves. Park. Amid the dim lanterns and semi-barren trees, a socialite, 70s, over-accessorized for a stroll, walks her fancy poodle. A high-pitched squeal breaks the sound. A large brown shape swoops in front of her. Her body jerks forward as it snatches the poodle from her. The shape disappears. Its squeal fades. The leash falls to the ground. The socialite stares wide-eyed and in shock at the leash, then directs her gaze into the sky and screams. Interior Langstrom home, dawn. The doorbell sounds. Valerie bursts from around the corner, paws and barks at the front door. Francine approaches and maneuvers the dog away from her.
Valerie, down.
She opens the door. Jonathan stands rigid behind the closed screen door. Valerie whimpers away.
Hello, Francine.
Oh, Jonathan. Bit early for a visit, isn't it?
This isn't a social call.
What can I do for you?
Why is my position being compromised?
Excuse me?
Why have I been summoned to present classified records of my experiments?
He shows an official document to Francine, who scans it.
Board of Regents is merely following procedures. We are entitled to know everything about your faculty's experiments, and your grant application left too many things unanswered.
Issue of doctor-patient confidentiality.
Not when it involves funding that the university and the government provide.
I will not jeopardize my patients' privacy to satisfy bureaucrats.
The board is more concerned with your patients' well-being than their privacy.
Jonathan looses some of his placidity. His speech and mannerisms grow nervous.
Not the only one with controversial experiments, Mrs. Langstrom. Need I remind you of your late husband's work?
Francine looses her professional demeanor.
Don't you dare bring Kirk into this. And for your information, Professor, Kirk is only missing, not dead.
Jonathan didn't expect that.
Who are you trying to convince?
Francine slams the door. Exterior links from home, day. Jonathan strides from the front porch, but as he reaches the sidewalk, his demeanor crumbles and he steadies himself with a hand on an oak tree.
Ichabod, Ichabod, I'm coming for you, Ichabod.
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 Overcomes him as he remembers. Flashback. Exterior cornfield, day. Young Jonathan, 9, gangly and frail, crashes through stalks of corn. His face has a few scars, though nowhere near what he will have as an adult. Frantic, he glances over his shoulder as if being pursued.
Run, scaredy cat, run!
Get back on your post, Scarecrow.
Flashback ends. Exterior links from home, day. The memories fade. Jonathan's terror does not.
You know what you must do.
Jonathan composes himself and strolls down the sidewalk. In the house behind him, Francine watches him through the window. He closes the curtains. Interior Wayne Manor, parlor, day. The phone rings. Alfred answers it.
Wayne residence.
Hey, Al.
Hello, young sir. To what do we owe the privilege of this call? Surely you're not out of money already.
Intercut with interior Dick's dorm room, day. A typical young single male's living quarters. Dick is on his phone.
Money, no. Patience, yes.
Will you be honoring us with your presence this weekend?
Well, that's not really up to me, is it? Especially with Bruce flying solo these days.
I'm not sure I understand your meaning.
Well, apparently, you haven't been following the news.
As typical, the media is full of rubbish.
Okay, so when do we suit up and investigate the Langstrom disappearance and this bat-like creature?
I'm afraid I don't hold the answer to that. Would you care to speak to the one who does?
Thanks just the same, but I know where the conversation will lead.
Interior Bruce's office day. Bruce sits in a comfortable executive chair positioned behind an immaculate antique wooden desk. His back is to a large screen monitor with a webcam mounted above it. On the monitor, a group of executives occupy a conference table. None look pleased. A Wayne Enterprises sign hangs on the wall behind him.
I know where this competition is leading. We've been there before, ladies and gentlemen.
But, sir, with all due respect, this is your company.
Yes, but I hired you to run it for me. Please see that's what you do.
Mr. Wayne, I really must.
I think we've covered everything for now. I'll talk with you again when time permits.
The screen goes dark. A painting slides over, hiding him. Bruce swivels the chair as if allowing himself to come out of hiding now that the executives are gone. He is weary and despondent. A framed picture of himself in bit captures his gaze.
I'm not afraid of you.
Flashback. Exterior suspension bridge, night. Cornered, a criminal flicks open a switchblade.
You're nothing without your partner.
Fully costumed and ready for action, Robin, aka Dick Grayson, drops down in front of him. The criminal lunges with his knife, but Robin flips him over the edge of the bridge. He plummets head first, screaming. A cable wraps around his legs and pulls taut, leaving him swinging in the open air. On the edge of the bridge, Robin holds the other end of the cable and secures it to the structure. A large shape passes overhead.
About time.
Batman, aka Bruce Wayne, emerges from the shadows and peers over the edge at the criminal.
You could have killed him.
At least I was here.
A moment of tension broken by the bat signal, which illuminates the sky in the distance.
Are you going to get that, or should I?
Robin shoots his grappling hook and swings away.
It never ends.
Batman follows his partner's lead into the Dark Knight. Flashback ends. Interior Bruce's office day. Bruce regards his hands, fingers flexed into claws. He hangs his head. Exterior University Clock Tower day. Two maintenance men, Ralph and Sam, approach the tower's base. Ralph unlocks the old wooden door while Sam clears away some foliage to reveal a control panel.
I don't know why I always got to be the one that goes up. It's your turn, Sam.
Oh, but I'm afraid of heights. Now stop your complaining and get up there.
Sam opens the control panel and tinkers. Ralph enters the clock tower. Farewell. Ralph flips on his flashlight and climbs the stairs.
Damn useless relic. Don't see why they keep this stupid thing in use anyhow.
To make your life miserable, Ralph.
Hell freeze. A trap door opens. Ralph peeks his head through, flashlight first. He scans the walls with the light. Sunlight peeks through slits between the boards, slicing the darkness. Dust floats in the light beams.
They don't make them like this anymore. Someone should have taken a wrecking ball 2 years ago.
The flashlight illuminates a mass of cut wires dangling, a low gurgle. Ralph shines his light in the direction of the noise. Two yellow eyes open, reflecting the light. Exterior University Clock Tower day. Sam throws a switch within the control panel.
Let's hear you sing, baby.
An ear-piercing screech, Sam jumps. Ralph bursts through the door, knocking Sam aside. Ralph runs off, nursing a bleeding shoulder with a look of terror on his face. Sam pursues.
Ralph, where are you going? What happened?
Something's up there, man.
Sam stops running and faces the tower. Ralph doesn't.
What is it? Maybe we should tell someone.
Another cry. Sam follows Ralph's lead. Interior in Hallowell's office day. Behind his desk, Roger looks up at the distant cry, puzzled. Jonathan bursts in, upset and waving a memo.
What's the meaning of this?
Jonathan slams the memo down on Roger's desk. Roger reads the memo as his countenance falls.
This is unfortunate, I admit, but did you really expect otherwise?
I expected you to defend me from such trumped-up libel. Now they're after my position at Arkham as well.
Calm down, Jonathan. Please have a seat.
Roger gestures towards the chair. Jonathan sits. Roger moves to the front of his desk.
First off, no one is after your position. These investigations are merely a formality intended to justify certain funding to the government. When you're in the private sector,
I won't have my work scrutinized or compromised by bureaucratic penny pinchers. They feel my research is unjustified.
they just don't understand it, or like you, or like I do. But would you care to explain why Mrs. Langstrom nearly lodged a personal complaint against you this morning?
What?
I talked her out of it, but I shouldn't have to tell you that it's inappropriate to discuss this issue at her personal residence, especially with all she's going through right now.
Her emotional distress over her husband is not my concern. My work is my life.
I understand that, Jonathan, and I'll do everything in my presence to further it. But you need to tone it down a bit. We both know you're prone to take things to the extreme.
Jonathan stands.
I need you in my corner, Roger. No one else is.
Roger moves to Jonathan's side and places a comforting hand on his shoulder.
Don't be paranoid. Everyone isn't against you, but self-fulfilling prophecies have a way of coming true. Promise me that you won't bother Mrs. Langstrom anymore and that you'll comply with the board's inquiries.
I promise.
It doesn't sound sincere. He heads for the door.
Hey, I'm your boss, your therapist, and your friend. I'll always be here for you.
Jonathan pauses at the door, his back to Roger.
We'll see.
He exits. Exterior of Bruce's balcony day. Bruce leans against the railing and stares towards the distant Gotham skyline. His dismal demeanor remains unchanged.
Will you be taking all your meals out here, sir?
Alfred joins him and follows his stare towards Gotham.
The city looks so peaceful from here, as if nothing were wrong.
Who are you trying to convince?
Bruce turns towards Alfred.
Speak your mind, Alfred.
Why must you always be so damn morose?
This startles Bruce.
Trouble doesn't simply disappear because Batman is no longer around.
Some say Batman is the source of trouble. Then he invites more crime than he prevents.
Batman exists due to crime, not the contrary. You have a responsibility to uphold.
To whom?
To the citizens of Gotham. To your late parents, to Master Dick. Can't say that without laughing. Most importantly, to yourself. No one can afford to wait while you brood over yet another problem of your life. If I may be so bold, perhaps retiring Batman was a mistake. It is, after all, who you are.
Being Batman was a choice, as was my decision to hang up the cowl and cape. Bruce Wayne deserves a life too.
You call this a living? You neglect your business. You abandon all social functions, and Master Dick believes you want nothing more to do with him. Frankly, the mood in this household has become rather funeral again.
Batman will always be part of me. But that part of my life will remain down there.
He looks over the railing towards the estate grounds.
Buried for the time being.
As you wish, sir. But not all caves exist underground.
Interior University Gymnasium day. Dick performs a number of amazing acrobatic feats on the parallel bars, rings, and other equipment in the room, pushing himself to the limit. He lands on the mat and heads for a nearby bench. He grabs a towel and mops the sweat from his face.
You're sending me away?
Flashback. Interior Batcave. Bruce is in the bat suit except for the cowl. Dick remains in full costume. Equipment in the cave shuts down one by one.
I want more for you than this. You need to discover who Dick Grayson is apart from Robin.
Dick rips off his mask.
I know who I am.
How can you? This is the only life you've known outside the circus. We're not here to entertain the crowds.
This is the life I've chosen.
Are you sure it didn't choose you? You need time away from here, away from me, away from this life.
You've been trying to get rid of me since we met. You don't want me to be like you.
You're right. I want you to be better.
So Batman will once again fly solo?
No. As of tonight, Batman will not fly at all.
Bruce throws a switch and the Batcave plunges into darkness. Flashback ends. Interior University Gymnasium day. Shaking the painful memories away, Dick exits. As the door swings shut, the reflection of Jonathan appears in the glass. Exterior downtown Gotham City, dusk. A woman walks along the darkened sidewalk, clutching her purse. As she passes an alley, something springs from the shadows, grabs her, and pulls her in. She screams. In the alley, a mugger pins the woman against the wall and stifles her scream. He wields a switchblade near her face.
Go ahead. Scream all you want. Who's gonna hear it? Not the police, not the Batman.
POV, echolocation. From far above, flying towards the mugger and woman. The mugger rummages through the purse, keeping the woman at bay with the switchblade. When mugger speaks, the image pulses with the sound of his voice and intensifies.
If I don't find anything I like, just take you.
He laughs. The woman ignores him, looking up. The mugger follows her stare.
Nah.
His face contorts with horror as he screams. A shrill squeal pierces the air. Exterior Arkham Asylum, dusk. A sign on an oppressive stone wall designates the gloomy structure that sits in the midst of stark, decaying wasteland. Interior Jay's cell, dusk. Over black, screaming, joined by a chorus of other misery. Panicked chanting gets louder, faster.
Condition yourself to the sensation, not the situation. Use your panic. You don't fight it. Let the fear grow, consume you, harden you.
No, no, no!
Jonathan rips a blindfold from the eyes of Jay, a bulky inmate in a straitjacket. His patches of wild hair match his expression. His eyes dart about, his body trembles, sweat covers his face. A typical padded cell. In one corner sits a rollaway cart with various instruments and drugs. Jonathan closes his eyes and inhales deeply. A smile crosses his face, and he lays comforting hands on Jay's shoulder.
Excellent. Your progress is remarkable, Jay. I'm afraid I can't stop until your fear becomes everyone else's nightmare. I guess we're both committed.
Jonathan prepares a syringe filled with a yellow serum. Jay eyes it with anticipation.
I've had my fix. Now it's time for yours.
He moves in to administer the shot. Cell corridor. A scream of sheer terror rips through the brick-lined hallway, pitted with bad fluorescent lighting. The sound sends the patients into fits. Interior Wayne Manor, dusk. Dick walks to the front door. Deserted home.
Hello? Anyone home?
Alfred descends the staircase.
Ah, Master Dick. Our wandering scholar has returned. How is collegiate life these days?
Grace professors, some practical assignments, unrealistic hopes. Pretty much the same.
Searches the house. Alfred follows.
Nevertheless, it's good to have you back in the real world.
They proceed into the living room.
Can I get you anything? Something to eat, a beverage, perhaps an appointment with Master Bruce?
Dick stops and faces Alfred.
Do you hear, Alfred?
No, I'm happy to say he is not. I can't read the screen. Move your ass. He went out a while ago.
As whom?
Sorry. There's a cat. Put your mind at ease, young sir. Batman is still in retirement.
Well, then I'll be heading back to campus. It's part of my name on it.
Dick heads out.
Oh, no tether binding Robin to Batman or Dick Grayson to Bruce Wayne. Don't let the inactivity of one stifle the other.
Dick halts his exit.
Bruce sent me away to find out who I am, but instead, I'm losing everything I was.
Unpleasant experiences often prove the better teachers.
Maybe. I just don't think I'm ready to fly solo.
Dick leaves. Alfred watches him go. Exterior downtown Gotham City, night. Bruce walks down the sidewalk, lost in thought. Emergency lights and commotion attract his attention. A sizable crowd surrounds the entrance to the alley. Commissioner Gordon escorts the nearly catatonic woman into a squad car, while other police curtail the reporters who snap pictures and wave mics.
Can you comment on the latest victim?
Why are the police powerless to do anything?
Are you looking to siege the Gotham Commissioner?
Does the offender exhibit classic serial mythology?
What are the rumors that this is the work of the Batman?
The reporters settle and move closer, eager for the answer. Bruce pays close attention. The catatonic woman's face recognizes that word.
Those rumors are unsubstantiated and downright scandalous.
The bat! It was the bat!
The commissioner shoves the woman into the squad car as the reporter's tenacity returns.
Commissioner
Gordon?
No comment.
The commissioner notices Bruce, who appears catatonic himself. Paramedics wheel out the shrouded body of the dead mother and hoist him into an ambulance. When the commissioner looks for Bruce again, he's gone. Interior Bruce's living room, night. The alley crime scene plays on a large TV. The image pans to a TV reporter.
Fear has once again returned to the citizens of Gotham. The question remains, is this the work of the Dark Knight? Back to you.
The TV turns off. Bruce stares at the blank screen. He lowers the remote control. Alfred enters behind him.
I see Batman is a celebrity again. Isn't that what you were trying to avoid?
The myth of Batman was better than my actions alone. Fear used to be my greatest weapon in the fight against crime.
Perhaps, but not only do the criminals fear you, so do the citizens you swore to protect.
What matters is that the innocent are in danger. There are still monsters out there.
I'm afraid it will always be so. Question is, what are you going to do about it?
Interior Batcave, night. As the lights come on in the costume vault, bats flutter and panic in the distance. The simple, stylish, utilitarian uniform of the Dark Knight fades into view. It is an empty suit, a hand-drafted suit. Interior Jay's cell, night. A human roar rips the quiet cell. Mad with terror, Jay plows himself into the padded walls and struggles against his bonds. Jonathan inhales, reveling in Jay's anguish for keeping his distance.
That's it. Take solace in your torment. Let it strengthen you.
Jay shreds his straight jacket and collapses in one corner of the room, panting. He hides his face, trembling. Jonathan approaches with a terrifying look of glee plastered across his face. He strokes Jay's head like a bird.
Fear of weakness. Oh, congratulations, Jay. You've earned a break. Soon you'll be ready to sow what you have reaped for so long. But now I'm afraid your particular contributions have reached their limit.
He produces a flyer about the university Halloween party.
Every experiment needs a control group.
He crumples the flyer. Exterior sky, night. The shape of a man-sized bat with spread wings soars to the moon-illuminated clouds. It emerges from the cloud bank, revealing a specialized glider guided by Batman. Batman scans the skies, only clouds and silence. A miniature radar screen on the glider refreshes, but shows nothing around. As Batman passes over another cloud bank, the moon casts his shadow beneath him. He leaves the clouds behind, yet his shadow follows. Batman angles the glider towards Gotham's skyline. The shadow veers off in another direction. Gotham City skyline. The glider maneuvers around city structures. A blip appears on the screen and approaches Batman's position. Batman scans his vicinity. Nothing. A huge shape comes up from beneath him and darts by in a blur, startling Batman. He pilots the glider towards open space. The shape disappears. The blip reappears, followed by the shape, which whips by again and shreds a portion of the glider. Batman struggles to control the damaged glider. The shape vanishes. Batman hits a button on the glider's control panel. Twin streams of smoke emit from the wingtips and expand to fill the space between the buildings. Batman steers the glider back into the smoke bank. He presses another button on the control panel.
Sonar mode activated.
The radar screen changes into a virtual representation of the structures around the glider. Through swirls of smoke, Batman sees the faint shape moving around him. Eventually, it disappears. The glider lurches downward. A winged claw rips through the glider and grabs Batman around the neck. Batman flinches and rolls the glider. The claw vanishes as the hitchhiker spills off. The glider soars out of the dissipating smoke. Batman glances over his shoulder, examining the hole above him. A fanged set of jaws appears and hisses. As the glider heads for a rooftop, Batman presses another button on the control panel. His harness attaches. The glider continues its accelerated descent and rams a nearby building. An inhuman cry pierces the air as the glider crumbles and falls to the street below. Building rooftop. Batman drops a short distance to the rooftop, using his cape as a makeshift parachute. He rolls to a stop. He releases his harness and approaches the rooftop's edge. The clouds now cover Gotham, a storm brews. As Batman nears the edge, the shape rises and flies over him. Batman spins, shocked to see Man-Bat, a human-bat hybrid wearing tattered, dingy clothing. Man-Bat spreads his impressive wings and hisses as he paces Batman, who retrieves a batarang from his belt. With a squeal, Man-Bat is upon him. The batarang flies from Batman's hand over the building's edge. Batman's training proves little match for Man-Bat's ferocity. For every blow Batman lands, his costume suffers twice as much, and his counterattacks only further enrage the beast. Batman removes an item from his belt that pops in a brilliant flash of light, blinding Man-Bat. Taking advantage of the situation, Batman moves to subdue Man-Bat, but the creature knocks him aside without looking. Batman smacks into the emergency broadcast siren tower and falls to the rooftop, stunned. A wire comes loose, sparks. Man-Bat approaches, flailing his claws in front of him, still blinded. He passes Batman, who leaps up and flies towards Man-Bat's back. Man-Bat's ears sense the movement. He spins and grabs Batman by the neck, choking him. He slams him into the tower again while holding him aloft. Man-Bat bares his fangs and moves in for a bite. Batman grabs the loose wire and touches it to Man-Bat. Pop! The shock ejects Man-Bat backwards. Batman tears into the siren's control box and tampers with the wiring. The siren wails to life. Batman holds his ears, but the noise repels Man-Bat. A human-like squeal erupts from his mouth. He drops over the edge. Batman disables the siren. Nursing his wounds, he runs to the edge. No Man-Bat. Spectators gawk at him from nearby windows. He disappears into the shadows. Exterior University Courtyard, night. Halloween decorations adorn the exterior of the Great Hall. Costumed students pass through the courtyard and enter the building as the storm brews overhead. A lightning flash illuminates the Scarecrow. The sign announcing the Halloween dance flutters in a strong wind, then finally detaches from its chest and blows away. Several more bursts of lightning as the storm intensifies, then darkens. Another flash, an empty swaying pole, the Scarecrow is gone. Interior University Great Hall, night. A college party in full swing. A band plays, music blares, decorations billow. Costume students dance, drink, laugh, and converse. Dick sidesteps his way through the crowd. Out of costume, he stands out like a sore thumb, alone in the sea of disguise. He notices, across the room, someone has donned the Scarecrow costume from the courtyard and stands inert, staring at Dick.
Nice costume, Grayson.
Dick turns to face Dinah, 20. Her costume consists of skin-tight black leather and fishnet stockings. Dick's eyes widen at the sight of it.
Hey, Dinah. What are you supposed to be?
An acrobat?
Trust me, acrobats don't wear leather.
He glances in the direction of the Scarecrow, who is now gone.
I loved how you put Professor Crane in his place. That guy is scary.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd want to hear that.
He spots the Scarecrow again, closer, staring, rigid.
So, are you here with anyone or just decided to wander in off the street?
The crowd obscures the Scarecrow and passes. He isn't there.
Did you see that?
What?
The guy in the Scarecrow costume.
I don't see any Scarecrow. Maybe he took off to Oz.
Excuse me.
He leaves her side and makes his way through the dense crowd, scanning the partygoers. The Scarecrow appears in front of Dick, startling him.
Do I know you?
The Scarecrow remains motionless, silent.
What do you want?
The Scarecrow then steps aside and disappears in the throng of people. Dick pursues him, but is unable to locate him among all the colorful costumes. Dick finally reaches a sidewall. He flinches in pain and grasps the back of his neck. He removes a strand of straw with its blood on its sharp end. Puzzled, he spins to locate the culprit. A couple of people disappear before his eyes. No one seems to notice except him. More people vanish. No one cares.
What's going on?
The noise level drops. He spins around. Half the people cease to exist. He rushes towards some people and grabs one of them by the shoulders.
What's happening?
Those people disappear. No one notices them. The music stops. The band is gone. The random vanishings quicken. Panic. Dick spins in circles, runs to and fro.
Where's everyone going?
Even the ambience disappears, leaving an uneasy silence, broken by the echo of his solitary footfalls. The Scarecrow saunters towards Dick. Dick executes an impressive kick that flattens the Scarecrow.
Who are you?
He straddles the body, rips the mask away, revealing John Grayson, late 30s, unconscious.
Dad? Dad?
Dick tries to revive him. John Grayson is now wearing attire appropriate for a circus acrobat. The body decays in Dick's arms, leaving a costumed skeleton.
Oh, don't leave me again.
The skull whips towards him. The dead sockets bore into him. The skeletal fingers wrap around his neck, choking him.
You killed me.
Several scarecrows surround them. The room darkens. Dick tries to scream. Everything returns to normal. Still beset by his nightmare, Dick squirms and grabs at imaginary hands around his neck. The crowd has circled around him, giving him space. The band has stopped playing. Dinah rushes to him and tries to subdue him.
Grayson, what's wrong?
Getting no response from him, she turns to the other students who just stare at him wide-eyed.
Someone call 911.
Dick screams and pushes Dinah away. He lashes out at the invisible foes with a manic expression. Two security guards rush in, grab Dick's arms, and attempt to hold him down despite his almost superhuman strength. Exterior University clock tower, night. Silhouetted against the stormy sky, Man-Bat perches near some stone gargoyles. He examines his wings and claws.
What? I
His voice has a wavering resonance. He sees his reflection in a pool of water, and a cry escapes his mouth. The storm intensifies. Interior Batcave. Batman's shredded cape lands across the desktop. Bruce, in portions of the Batsuit but without the cowl, collapses into a chair. Alfred descends the distant stairs.
Why am I doing this again?
Bruce removes more of the torn suit, revealing numerous injuries.
I thought I was still cut out for it.
You appear to be cut up for it.
Alfred begins dressing the wounds.
Not only did I prevent that thing's escape, I'm now closer to knowing what it is. And now, thanks to me, it's hurt, mad.
Bruce turns to face Alfred, who knows that look.
What's wrong?
I'm afraid there's more bad news. It seems Master Dick has been committed to Arkham Asylum.
Interior Arkham cell, corridor, night. A chorus of misery, singing and laughter mixes in the air. Dr. Burton, 40s, wild hair, escorts Bruce between cells. Like a puppy, he hovers around Bruce, consulting a log and referencing door numbers. It's just up here, Mr. Wayne, but you didn't worry, your ward's in the best of health.
You shouldn't be here at all, Doctor.
I'm afraid that's my doing.
Bruce, Dr. Burton continues walking. Both turn to find Jonathan exiting a cell behind them.
And you are?
Bruce Wayne meets Dr. Jonathan Crane, resident staff psychologist. Mr. Grayson is under his supervision.
Bruce Wayne, the young man's guardian. Your continuing support of this institution is most appreciated, though one wonders why you do it.
There are some things better kept locked away.
There's nothing to be afraid of here.
I want to see him, Doctor.
Let me know if there's anything else you require. Dr. Burton scuttles away. Jonathan gestures. He and Bruce continue down the hall. From the darkness of his cell, Jay watches the pair through his doorstep.
You are one of Dick's professors?
Yes. He's spoken of me?
Only in passing.
Bruce notices the slit and the bright, wide eyes within that follow him.
I trust they were kind words.
You have some interesting theories. Under different circumstances, I might discuss your phobia philosophy with you.
High praise indeed. I take it you're acquainted with fear.
A little.
They stop at one of the cells.
Here we are. I must advise you to restrict your actions.
Jonathan unlocks the door. He and Bruce enter. Bruce's face becomes downcast. Dick's cell. Dick sits in the padded cell wearing a straitjacket, unaware of Jonathan or Bruce.
What's wrong with him, Doctor?
That's what we intend to find out. Apparently, he suffered a complete breakdown complicated by possible stimulant ingestion.
Drugs?
Don't look so shocked. Not unusual for a boy his age to experiment, especially amidst a collegiate environment. Witnesses say he kept shouting, "Don't leave me." Does he have any abandonment issues you're aware of?
Bruce turns away. Jonathan consults the note.
If I'm not mistaken, the young man lost his parents around this time of year, didn't he?
He should be at home.
That's neither possible nor advised. His current state is a danger to himself and everyone around him. He managed to upset a good amount of school property and even injure some security guards. Took a lot to restrain him.
I'll make amends for any damage done, but I want him out here immediately.
I'm afraid this is one instance where your money won't help you, Mr. Wayne. I have the legal right to hold him here until I say he's fit to leave.
We'll see about that, Doctor.
Bruce exits.
Meantime, you can rest assured that he will receive my personal care.
Interior University Great Hall night. Minus the students, the room seems oppressive. Some disturbed decorations and furniture mark its weight. Police examine the area. Bruce Wayne accompanies Commissioner Gordon near the overturned refreshment table.
I'm sorry to say he's right. Bruce, there's nothing I can do except try to discover what happened.
But Arkham's for the criminally insane. He doesn't belong in there.
Professor Crane felt it best that he personally treat him, since he was the first physician to respond and his residency is at Arkham. It was his decision to make.
I won't allow that.
Gordon places his hand on Bruce's shoulder.
Why don't you talk to Dean Hallowell? He's head of the psychology department and a personal friend of Professor Crane's. Maybe he can help?
Bruce collects himself.
Do you have any leads?
Not much. We're examining the punch, but since no one else has experienced similar symptoms, it's probably dead end. The other students weren't much help either.
Thanks, Jim. I appreciate your efforts. Please keep me informed.
Of course, we could use the help. This is the second time I've been called here this week.
The Langstrom disappearance. Any parallels?
Maybe. But between the school and those mysterious sightings in the city, I'm definitely earning my salary. I just wish I knew Batman would come running if we relit the signal. Take care of yourself, Bruce, and try to get some rest.
Gordon walks away to join his force.
I've rested long enough.
Bruce starts out, but spots something on the floor. He picks up a solitary strand of straw with his handkerchief. He notices a dab of blood on the end. Interior Batcave. Bruce ponders over the computer, which provides the only illumination. He looks weary, but with purpose. Other lights come on as Alfred enters. Bruce scrutinizes the monitors and tinkers with the computer.
Have you been at it all night, sir?
First, you reprimand me for not working. Now you're on my case about working too much.
There is such a thing as a happy medium.
Never been my strong suit.
Indeed. Are you any closer to a solution?
There's a residue on the straw that stimulates the human limbic system, specifically the amygdala.
If I recall anatomy lessons correctly, that portion of the brain deals with the memories and emotions related to survival.
This compound seems to be induced the release of norepinephrine,
Norepinephrine, sir?
exactly, a very concentrated release.
Which is related to anxiety.
And in extreme cases, phobia. It's also how many animals sense fear in humans. They smell it.
Are you going to take this new evidence to the police?
Not yet. They have their hands full. Plus, I've discovered 2 more things that makes this a bit more personal. There's a hallucinogen combined with the fear agent.
And the other thing?
Bruce faces Alfred.
Dick's blood.
Didn't Master Dick mention one of his professors who...
Dr. Jonathan Crane. Alfred, arrange an appointment with Dean Hallowell at the university.
He returns to his experiments.
At once. And Bruce.
Bruce acknowledges him.
It's good to have you back.
Interior Dean Hallowell's office day. Roger examines the piece of straw, which is enclosed in a plastic Ziploc bag. Bruce stands nearby.
Pheromones.
Pheromones?
No, pheromones, silly, I know, but that's what Dr. Crane called it. His work involved the artificial stimulation of the brain's fear centers. But I didn't realize he was this far along.
It's an incredible piece of work.
If what you say is true, he's abusing his position and his oath. I've known Jonathan for quite some time, and he has his faults, but this isn't him. Maybe someone stole his work and is using it to frame him.
Who would have the knowledge and the wherewithal to do that?
No one. I'm just grasping at straws. No pun intended.
He hands the plastic bag with the straw back to Bruce.
Dean, I know how hard this must be for you, but...
Do you, Master Wayne? Have you ever had to betray a friend? Abandon someone who trusts and needs you?
There's a friend of mine in need right now because of Professor Crane. His safety, perhaps his very life, depends on you helping me.
Roger sighs.
You understand that I can't divulge private information to you. However, you have my word that I will surrender the necessary records to the review board. I'll also see about getting Mr. Grayson released into your care.
The intercom buzzes. Roger gestures for Bruce to wait.
Yes?
The exterminator's here.
Seems we have a rat problem. Filthy, disgusting creatures.
He shudders.
Thank you for your help, Dean Hollow.
Roger stands and escorts Bruce to the door.
Mr. Wayne, you'll be instrumental in Mr. Grayson's recovery. Probably more so than any psychiatrist.
They shake hands, then Bruce exits. He passes an exterminator who enters Roger's office. Hallway outside psychology department. As Bruce exits the psychology department, Francine passes him and then does a double take as she recognizes him.
Excuse me, Bruce Wayne?
Bruce flashes a winning smile.
Last time I checked.
Cute. I just want to thank you for graciously diverting the attention of the police away from more important matters.
Bruce's smile fades.
I'm sorry, I don't quite understand.
Did you or did you not redirect the police department's resources to search for clues as to how a college party got a little wild? While we all appreciate how rare and earth-shattering that is, it doesn't help find my husband.
You must be Francine Langstrom.
Oh, you are aware of my case. So using your influence on Commissioner Gordon was willful disregard? I suppose a man of your means can get what he wants, no matter who it hurts.
I think you're misinterpreting my actions. Did your husband have any dealings with Dr. Crane by any chance?
This diffuses Francine's anger.
They were up for the same research grant.
A competitor of his goes missing, leaving behind a trash lab. One of his students, who has a habit of challenging him in class as a psychotic break, is now locked in an Arkham asylum. Coincidence?
I didn't know.
He presents her with a business card.
A personal number. What it's worth, I hope they find your husband soon, alive and unharmed.
Bruce strides away, leaving her lost in thought. Interior Dick's cell, dusk. Muzzled, Dick leverages himself against the padded wall to maneuver his arms inside the straitjacket. He manages to get one hand free, then loosens the clasp. In a matter of moments, he whips the straitjacket off. The sliding bolt in the door clanks. Dick rolls into a ball on the floor, hiding the fact that he is no longer wearing the straitjacket. The metal door swings open with a rusty whine. An orderly enters, prepping a syringe.
Fun time, Grayson!
Before the orderly can notice anything amiss, Dick springs at him and wraps the straitjacket around the orderly's neck from behind. The orderly drops to the floor, unconscious. Arkham's cell corridor. Dick sprints out of his cell and down the corridor. He soon is blocked by two orderlies, both of whom hulk over him. They grab at him, but he is too wiry and agile to be taken easily. He spins, leveling one of the orderlies. The other one puts up a better fight, but go down he does. Dick retrieves a set of keys from one of the orderlies and immediately unlocks the door at the end of the corridor. However, before he can escape, several security guards burst through and seize him. He continues to put up a fight, but they overpower him and proceed to beat him with their nightsticks.
That's all, gentlemen. We don't want to mistreat our patients now, do we?
The guards step away from Dick, who lies on the floor bruised and bloody. Dick's cell. Shackled, Dick flies into the cell through the open door and lands in a crumpled heap on the floor. Jonathan enters with a loaded mobile cart. The door clangs shut behind him.
Naughty, naughty. You're supposed to be an exemplary patient. In other words, I plan to make an example out of you.
He looms over Dick, who is physically helpless but still full of fighting spirit.
If I wasn't so drugged up, your goons wouldn't have taken me down so easily. And you wouldn't be standing there either.
So brave. Seems circumstances dictate the acceleration of your treatment.
He removes a gas mask from the cart and straps it over his mouth and nose.
Now, what was that you said in class? Something about facing one's fears.
He holds up a pressurized canister and twists the valve. A gaseous cloud sprays out and envelops Dick, who gasps. Terror overcomes him.
Don't worry. I owe you extra credit.
Exterior appliance store, night. Pedestrians huddle in front of a store window in which all the TVs display the local news and its anchor.
In other local news, police still have no leads in search for missing Gotham State University professor Kirk Langstrom.
Manbat crouches in the darkness across the street listening. The TVs switch to an interview with Gordon.
Unfortunately, our manpower is stretched to the limits. However, we will continue to use every resource available to find Dr. Langstrom.
The broadcast cuts to stock footage of Francine at a university event.
Dr. Langstrom's wife, Francine Langstrom, sits at the university's board of regents. She was unavailable for comment.
Across the street,
Francine.
Best wishes, Professor Langstrom, wherever you are.
A high-pitched scream shatters the store window and TVs within. The pedestrians hold their ears and scatter. A shadow takes flight. Interior University Assembly Room, day. The infamous Board of Regents sit in a semicircle behind an impressive curved desk. Among their members, Francine, Roger, and Dr. Burton. They loom over Jonathan, who faces them at stiff attention with his hands hidden behind his back. His face is expressionless.
Before us lies the unpleasant duty of judging one of our own, a duty that sadly we are required to perform given our position and responsibility that we have sworn to uphold. Professor Jonathan Crane, Doctor of Psychology, Gotham State University professor, and resident staff psychiatrist at Arkham Asylum, you are here today to face charges against your tenure and your continued employment at said institutions.
Jonathan reacts, not to the Regent, but instead to voices in his head.
Your charges are as follows: professional negligence, conduct unbecoming a doctor and a professor, woeful misappropriation of governmental and private funding, needless risk of life, failure to comply with FDA protocol.
Dirty cat.
We're gonna get you, Scarecrow.
Run, Ichabod, run.
Flashback. Exterior cornfield, day. The boys' chants continue. Young Jonathan crashes through stalks of corn. Frantic, he glances over his shoulder as if being pursued. Exterior barn, day. As he clears the corn, young Jonathan's feet twist and he topples to the ground. Corn stalks behind him shake as his pursuers close in. He picks himself up and dashes for the barn. He finds a small opening and crawls through it into the darkness inside.
You know what you must do.
Flashback ends. Interior University Assembly Room, day. The hearing continues.
The weight of our responsibility is heavy, but it is our burden to carry it out. Therefore, I ask each member to so signify their accordance with the decision by saying, "I."
Each member in turn voices an affirmative. Behind his back, Jonathan runs a fingernail along the other hand, drawing blood. I.
Hi.
Jonathan's face remains expressionless, an uneasy pause.
Dean Hallowell, we await your answer.
Another pause. Roger looks ill.
I.
He turns away.
It is unanimous. Dr. Crane, you are hereby relieved of your professorship and any benefits commensurate with said title. Furthermore, your services at Arkham Asylum will discontinue from this moment forth, and your patients shall be relegated to the care of another. Fortunately, this panel will not file criminal charges based in part of your years of service and Dean Hallowell's personal testimony. Do you have anything to say on your behalf?
Through his anger, Jonathan manages.
When our fears do not, or when our actions do not, our fears do make us traitors.
He glares at Roger. Interior Dick's bedroom, day. A photo of the flying Grayson, dressed in circus acrobat attire with a young Dick by their side, all smiles. A drop of liquid splashes on the image. Dick sits on his bed staring at a photo. Tears glide down his cheeks. He is back home and a knock at the closed door. He hides his emotions in the photo.
Yeah.
Bruce enters.
Just thought I'd check up on you. If there's anything you need,
No, I'm fine.
I'm here for you if you want to talk.
Are you?
Maybe I shouldn't have sent you away. I'm sorry.
Don't be. The man responsible has been taken care of.
Crane simply exposed your fears. He's not the cause of them.
Bruce exits. Dick takes the photo from the hiding spot. Exterior sky, night. The full moon shines. Clouds whip by. Gotham passes below. A medley of overlapping sounds. Human voices, cars, horns, sirens, static, heartbeats, radio programs, etc. Man-Bat flies through the air, listening, hunting. A familiar voice takes precedence over the other noises and gains his attention.
Another defeat. The overall extraction of bonding procedures was successful, yet isolating the DNA strands specific to senses appear insurmountable.
Man-Bat dives. Exterior links from home, night. Through the window, Francine sits on her bed next to the box of Kirk's personal effects. She listens to filtered voices from a digital recorder. Valerie lies beside her. Manbat perches in a tree near the second-story balcony outside the bedroom. He listens and watches.
I have to crack this. I don't know how much longer my marriage will last with me focusing on nothing but my research.
Francine wipes tears from her eyes.
And if I fail, my hearing is getting worse by the day, and before long, even the hearing aids will not help. How can Francine love half a man?
Click. Silence from the player. Manbat remembers, his face contorts with hatred and understanding.
Crane.
He emits a loud squeal. The tree shakes as he bursts from its branches into the night sky. Interior Francine's bedroom, night. Valerie sits up and barks at the window. Francine jumps to her feet and looks out the window.
What is it, girl?
She scratches Valerie's ears, but the dog still remains alert. Francine notices Bruce's business card on her dresser. She picks it up, then gets her phone and dials. Intercut with interior Bruce's balcony, night. Bruce's phone rings and he answers it.
This is Bruce.
I'm sorry to bother you at this time of night, Mr. Wayne. This is Francine Langstrom.
Known and position. What can I do for you?
I want to apologize about how I treated you at the university. It wasn't fair to you.
Under the circumstances, it's understandable.
I don't know if you heard, but at the hearing today, Crane was fired from both the university and Arkham. I'm a little concerned how he'll take it. That man is unstable.
Have you discussed this with the police?
Oh, they know my feelings about him. I'm certain he's responsible for Kirk's disappearance. I just can't prove it.
Let me see if I can use my influence on Commissioner Gordon to get to the bottom of this. A man of my means can sometimes get what I want.
I suppose I deserve that, but thank you.
Interior Batcave. Alfred stands outside the costume vault.
I take it this involves that deplorable Dr. Crane.
Batman emerges from the vault.
I think it's time that I pay a visit to a psychiatrist.
The irony of that statement does not escape me. Do you expect trouble from Crane?
I hope not. But I have a feeling I may need to prescribe a little fear myself.
Robin enters.
Just what the doctor ordered.
I think it's too soon for this.
Don't push me away this time. I need to see Crane get what he deserves.
Batman stares down Robin, who doesn't flinch.
Are you sure?
Robin nods.
Let's move.
Do come back in one piece this time.
Batman and Robin exit. Interior Johnson's lab, night. The full moon casts its glow through the skylight of the Spartan workplace. Scientific equipment and chemicals inhabit one table. Bunsen flames provide the remaining illumination for the otherwise dark room. Jonathan paces.
I'll always be there for you, Jonathan. I know where you're coming from, Jonathan. I'm your friend, Jonathan.
Jonathan stops at a table. The Scarecrow costume lies across it. He picks up the hood.
By this time tomorrow, Dean, the only therapy you'll be conducting will be on yourself.
Ichabod.
Jonathan quickly turns to heed the voice. Fear spreads across his face.
Where are you, Ichabod?
Scaredy cat, scaredy cat, scaredy cat.
He can't locate their source. He cowers in one corner of the room.
Leave me alone.
Flashback. Interior barn, day. Young Jonathan cowers in one corner of the large, dark barn. The voices continue outside.
Leave me alone.
Where are you hiding, Ichabod?
We're gonna get you, scaredy cat.
The barn door is open, bathing the interior with sunlight. A few crows flutter away, startling the three boys who stand in the doorway. They enter. Farm equipment and some livestock inhabit the barn's interior.
Creepy place.
Just right for old Ichabod.
Come out, wherever you are.
Movement in a distant stall attracts their attention. They creep towards it.
Gotcha.
You're gonna get it now, Iki. We're gonna miss when you have a good.
As they approach the stall, a lengthy frame dressed in rustic farmer's clothes rises to tower before them, face obscured in shadow. He is Mr. Crane. The boys freeze.
You boys got no business here.
He brandishes a menacing pitchfork. The boys' faces contort in terror.
It's Old Man Crane! Run for your lives!
The boys do just that, screaming as they flee. Mr. Crane approaches his son's hiding place. Young Jonathan peers up at his father, who seems impossibly tall.
Boy, you can't let people like that terrorize your whole life.
Mr. Crane thrusts the pitchfork into the ground. Young Jonathan stares at it, and a smile crosses his face. Flashback ends. Interior Jonathan's lab, night. A similar smile plays across Jonathan's face.
You know what you must do.
I know what I must do.
He dons a mask, completing the costume and becoming Scarecrow. The shadow of a familiar bat-like cowl appears in the skylight's reflection against the floor.
Out of retirement for me. I'm honored and ready.
He turns to face the skylight. Man-Bat crashes through the skylight, wings spread, and lands upright on the floor in front of Scarecrow.
Hello, you.
Man-Bat snarls. He lifts Scarecrow and tosses him across the room. Scarecrow smashes into the wall like a lengthy sack. Man-Bat approaches like a predator. Scarecrow backs towards a fire emergency box on the wall.
Fears are less than horrible imaginings.
Scarecrow tosses the stool at Man-Bat, who knocks it aside. Using the distraction, Scarecrow breaks the glass on the box and removes the axe from within. As he turns to swing, Man-Bat is upon him, stopping the axe in mid-swing. The two titans grapple with the axe between them. Man-Bat gains the upper hand. Scarecrow releases his grip and yanks a solitary strand of straw from the cuff of his other hand. He launches it towards Man-Bat. The straw embeds itself in Man-Bat's chest, causing him to squeal. He steps back, snaps the axe in two, and drops it.
Enjoy the show.
Unaffected by the toxin, Man-Bat removes the straw from his chest and drops it. Before Scarecrow can react, Man-Bat launches himself towards him and slashes him across the face. He collapses. Scarecrow hides his face with his hands but makes no indication of any pain. Man-Bat reels back to impart the finishing blow. Man-Bat's POV. Scarecrow morphs into Francine. She lowers her hands from her face and stares into Man-Bat's eyes, ashamed and sad.
What have you done, Kirk? You're killing me!
Jonathan's lab. Man-Bat pauses, stunned. A batarang wraps around Man-Bat's arm and holds it from striking. He turns around and hisses. Batman struggles with the batarang's line, pulling it tight. Out of sight, Scarecrow scrambles away, hiding behind a table. Robin shoots another cable around Man-Bat. However, Man-Bat pulls Robin's line, sending the boy wonder hurtling towards him. Robin performs a flip just out of Man-Bat's reach.
Check on Crane. I've got this.
Robin maneuvers towards Scarecrow's last resting spot. Man-Bat slashes the battering line with his free claw and assumes a pouncing position. Batman stumbles as the tension disappears. With a shriek, Man-Bat leaps. Robin lands on the tabletop closest to Scarecrow, who lies in the shadows behind some furniture.
All right, Crane. It's someone else's turn to play doctor, and believe me, you're going to need...
Scarecrow darts upright, hands outstretched towards Robin. At the sight of Scarecrow, Robin freezes in terror. Flashback. Interior University Great Hall night. In a nightmarish fashion, the Scarecrow strides towards a scared, huddled Dick Grayson through a disappearing crowd of costume students. Flashback ends. Interior Jonathan's lab night. Batman and Man-Bat square off. Batman's costume suffers the brunt of the attack. Man-Bat gains the upper hand and pins Batman to the wall by the neck. Man-Bat moves in, teeth bared, dripping saliva. Man-Bat's POV. Batman morphs into Francine and gives Man-Bat the same sad stare as before.
What have you become? You're not my husband. You're a monster.
Jonathan's lab. Momentary reflection. Elapsed in Man-Bat's attack. Batman removes an object from his belt and flings it towards Man-Bat. It strikes him in the chest and explodes in a shower of sparks. He drops Batman, regains his senses, and pounces. Robin crawls backwards, refusing to take his terrified eyes off of the shadows where Scarecrow landed. Breaking glass draws his attention. He turns to see Batman lying in a mess that used to be Jonathan's equipment. Batman collects himself and stumbles out of the expanding gas cloud coming from the broken containers. His labored walk becomes a crawl. Batman's POV. Staring at his hands, one of his gloves dissolves away, followed by the other. They reveal old, withered hands. Jonathan's lab. Robin rises, moves towards his partner. Man-Bat blocks his path. Batman pulls himself up to a sink with a mirror. Batman's POV. In the mirror, the reflection's cowl disintegrates, revealing an older, decrepit Bruce Wayne.
No.
Jonathan's lab. Man-Bat hovers over a terrified Robin, bent over backwards against the tabletop. Saliva drips onto Robin's chest and face. Man-Bat's POV. Robin morphs into Francine.
Who are you really trying to kill?
Jonathan's lab. Startled, Man-Bat springs back, knocking into another table and upsetting the burners. A fire erupts. Man-Bat squeals and soars through the broken skylight. The room's sprinkler system engages. The water extinguishes the flames and dissipates the gas. Robin approaches Batman, who leans against the wall for support as he shakes off the effects of the gas.
Are you all right?
Don't worry about me.
What was that thing?
No clue. But I tend to find out. What about Crane?
Robin doesn't answer or move. Batman spots his partner's hesitation and moves past him to Scarecrow's final resting spot, only to find it empty. Interior Batcave. Bruce and Dick remain in their respective battle-weary costumes without their masks.
What happened to you back there?
I don't know. What about you? You took a hit of that gas. Are you okay?
Fine.
Is that meant to convince me or yourself?
Bruce turns to walk away.
I said I'm fine.
I went through it too. Remember? What did you see?
Bruce sits at the computer, ignoring Dick.
The effects disappeared when the water dissipated into gas. The neurotoxin must be very short-lived and gaseous.
Why are you always pushing me away?
Now's not the time. We have work to do.
Fine. Whatever.
If the gas is simply a variation of the pheromone serum, it also affects the limbic system, which has a direct connection to
The sense of smell.
Now it can affect large groups of people at one time.
Alfred enters.
No hospitals report admitting any patient with severe facial lacerations.
No one would endure that much pain.
Assuming he survived, it won't be hard to recognize.
Interior barn, night. Flickering candlelight throws harsh shadows onto the walls, leaving all else in darkness. A black bag drops onto a workbench. In the rafters, a crow squawks, watching the proceedings below. Scarecrow hunches over the workbench with his face hidden, opens the bag, removes a large sewing needle and surgical thread. Drops of blood splash down to the bag and workbench. Candlelight throws Scarecrow's wavering shadow against the barn wall. It pulls off the shredded mask from its head. The shadow begins to sew its face. Scarecrow grasps the candle and lifts it to his face, a searing sound. Interior Francine's bedroom, night. Francine lies in bed, staring at a framed picture of Kirk and herself in happier times. At the foot of the bed, Valerie's ears perk up. She faces the balcony and growls.
What is it, girl?
Valerie jumps to the floor and barks at the glass doors. Worried, Francine pulls a robe on, goes to the doors, and opens them. Exterior Langstrom home, night. Francine steps out onto her balcony. Valerie runs out, barking in a welcoming manner.
What's out there? What do you see?
Francine.
Francine grabs Valerie for protection.
Who's that?
She then sees a shape in the tree hanging upside down.
Who are you?
Don't be scared, Francine.
With one swift movement, Man-Bat launches from the tree and lands before her on the balcony. She screams and runs back into the room, pulling Valerie behind her. Interior Francine's bedroom, night. Man-Bat enters as Francine backs up, clutching Valerie, who barks with excitement.
away! Wherever you are, go away!
Man-Bat blows her a kiss, as Kirk had done. He gasps.
Kirk?
Valerie escapes Francine's grasp, runs to Man-Bat, and jumps up on him, tail wagging.
I'm home.
Francine approaches him. Astonishment replaces fear. She reaches out towards his face, but he turns from her touch.
What happened to you?
A tear rolls down her face. Man-Bat wipes it away. Interior barn, night. One of Jonathan's scarred hands pulls out a set of rustic, threadbare farmer's clothing from some dark nook. He pulls a large pointed hat from the hook. Moth-eaten work gloves slip over his scarred hand. Exterior farm, night. Doors to a gigantic, decrepit barn open. Scarecrow steps out from the candlelit barn into the dark farmyard. He is nothing more than a billowing, lanky silhouette with a gauze-shrouded face, a terrifying image. He walks across the same yard from his flashback, though it appears to have been untouched by human hands for years. He stops at the old wooden fence that borders miles of a dried, dead corn. In the distance, green haze shrouds Gotham City. Scarecrow clasps his hands together as he faces the city.
And I will show you something different from either your shadow at morning striding behind you, or your shadow at evening rising to meet you. I will show you fear in a handful of dust.
He spreads his arms. A crow lands on one outstretched arm. Exterior cemetery, day. Nestled among the dead leaves and overgrowth sits a simple headstone. On it, the names Jonathan and Mary Grayson. The dates of their death are the same. Dick stands before the grave wearing a leather bike jacket, boots, and faded jeans.
I wish you were all here with me. Wish I could have prevented this.
He places flowers on the graves.
I don't know who I am anymore. I thought I could lose myself in something and the pain would go away, but it's not working. I'm afraid. Afraid of everything, it seems, and I don't know what's happening to me.
He sits on the grass before the headstone, head in hands.
I want my life back. I want myself back. I don't know who I am anymore. I feel so lost and alone.
The chirp of a bird draws Dick's attention. A red robin perches atop the gravestone. Interior Bruce's living room, day. Bruce paces, Alfred watches.
I think that creature points now. Still no to figure out what it is.
Possible connection could it have to the university?
Going home to roost, perhaps.
It's a bit large for a lab animal.
Maybe. What about a lab experiment?
Who could have created such a thing?
We still have a missing biogeneticist on our hands. One who researched genetic engineering with animals.
Are you suggesting this creature is Dr. Langstrom?
It is man's size and displays intelligence.
Why would he go after Crane?
Personal vendetta? What if Crane was responsible for this transformation?
Crane has proven to be a rather unstable character.
Langstrom went after Crane for retribution. It's only logical where he'll go next.
Interior Francine's bedroom, day. Francine's cell phone rings. She checks it and sees Bruce Wayne's name on the caller ID. She clicks ignore and returns her attention to Man-Bat.
I don't know. Effects can't predict memory turning, but Foggy, look at me.
He holds out his claws and punches them.
We can fix this.
I'm a failure. Wasn't supposed to happen.
Francine tenderly places her hands on the sides of his face.
We will get through this.
Man-Bat pulls away from him.
Needs to die. Crane. Never thought a man could hate like this, but I am not a man.
Don't say that. You're still Kirk Langstrom. You still have his mind and his heart.
This is what I am, Francine.
Kirk, listen to me. I love you.
How can you love a monster?
You're not a monster.
His eyes narrow like a predator.
Like it or not, Kirk Langstrom is dead. Jonathan Crane killed him, and I crave his blood.
He goes to the glass door, spreads his wings to full breath, and lets out a cry. Valerie whimpers.
Don't turn your back on me. Not again. If you fly out that door and give in to this thing, then Kirk really is dead.
Manbat's wings lower.
Just wanted to help others.
Francine wraps her arms around him.
You're in such a hurry to leave me again that you're forgetting something.
A very human expression crosses his animal face. He touches his ear where he normally wears his hearing aid. She shakes her head.
I can be your hands. Let's make this right together.
He takes her hands in his paws.
Francine, I love you. With whatever heart beats inside me.
He tenderly envelops her in his wings. Interior Batcave. A strip of light breaks the blackness in the costume vault. It streaks across the Robin outfit as the vault door is open. A human shadow falls halfway across the costume. A hand reaches in and retrieves the clothing. Exterior Gotham State University, dusk. As the sun sets, storm clouds move to block the last traces of daylight. Lightning brews within their midst. Roger stares out the window of his office high above the school grounds. The lightning reflects against the glass. Interior Dean Hallowell's office, dusk. Roger stands at the window. The lamp on his desk provides the only artificial light in the room. A crow flaps and squawks at the window near Roger's head, startling him. He chuckles as it flies away. He gathers some papers and places them in a briefcase. Across the room, the doorknob turns. The door creaks open.
Hello? Who's there?
The door swings fully open, framing Jonathan's silhouette.
Hello, Roger.
Jonathan? Is that you?
I'm ready for our final session.
I know you're upset about the results of the hearing.
Jonathan kicks the door shut.
You were my friend, Roger. I trusted you.
He stalks towards Roger's desk.
I'm sorry, Jonathan. There was nothing I could do. I defended you as best as I could, but I was outnumbered. You gotta believe me.
But I don't believe you. I think you betrayed me. You took advantage of our confidentiality to have me removed. You conspired to end my research and protect your own position.
As he nears the desk, the lamp reveals his farmer's clothing from the barn. He places his oversized hat on his head.
Jonathan, you're scaring me.
Jonathan places his hands on the edge of the desk.
You don't know the meaning of the word, but you will.
He leans into the light, which completely reveals his new appearance. A lattice of loose, blood-stained gauze covers his flesh, leaving few areas exposed, such as an eye and his mouth. He is like a living scarecrow. He grins.
Boo.
Roger bolts for the door. In one swift movement, Scarecrow slings his scythe and swings it through the air, blocking Roger's exit. He maneuvers Roger back behind the desk.
You're insane.
Scarecrow backs off and paces.
Is that your professional opinion?
Roger grabs for the desk phone and presses buttons.
Security, this is Dean Hallow.
The scythe slices through the air, just missing Roger. The severed cord dangles from the receiver. Roger falls back into his chair. Scarecrow leans across the desk, places his hands upon it. Taking a letter opener, Roger thrusts it through the back of one of Scarecrow's hands. No reaction, only blood. Scarecrow pulls the letter opener from his wounded hand and sets it on the desk.
Well, what do you want?
To continue my research.
He swings the scythe and presents his open hands.
How do you...
Scarecrow draws a straw from his sleeve and flicks it at Roger. It stabs him in the throat. Roger gasps and pulls the straw from his flesh, puzzled.
What the hell?
Trick or treat.
A scraping noise. Roger opens a desk drawer. A rat squeaks at him from within. Roger jumps up. Blood of rats pour from the open drawer. Fear grips Roger, who darts for the door. Rats into the room, squeezing into the door. Roger freezes. Scarecrow cleans his fingernails with the sharp end of his scythe. The closet door opens and more rats pour out. Roger panics. A rat drops onto his shoulder. He knocks it off, looks up. Rats scurry out of the air vents set high into the wall. Roger screams. He spins around, face red and drawn into a mask of terror. Rats fill the room, climb his body, tear at his clothes. Scarecrow inhales and enjoys the show. Roger fighting an invisible enemy. Exterior University rooftop night. On the tallest peak, Robin scans the campus using night vision goggles. Robin's POV. Through the window to Dean Hallowell's office, Roger's shape passes back and forth, flailing frantically. Rooftop. Robin becomes alert.
What the?
He shoots his grappling hook to secure the cable, then swing off the roof. Interior Dean Hallowell's office night. Scarecrow watches Roger clawing at the rats that only he can see, and inhales deeply as if he's enjoying a pleasant fragrance.
Get them off. Get them off.
He grabs the bloody letter opener from the desk. Roger's POV. Rats cover Roger's body. He stabs them with the letter opener. Office. With no rats actually on Roger, he actually plunges it violently into his own body. The sharp metal pierces Roger's neck, puncturing his carotid artery. Blood sprays. Scarecrow steps out of the splash zone near the window. Roger's head across his desk. Exterior University courtyard night. Robin sprints across the lawn to the psychology building. He looks up at Roger's office window. Scarecrow gazes down at him. Lightning flashes. Scarecrow is gone. Robin shoots his grappling hook and then rides the cable up to the window. He clutches the outside of the building and looks into the office. Inside, Roger's dead body lies across the desk. Otherwise, the room is empty. Interior Kirk's lab night. Lightning strikes outside the window. Mandat watches over Francine's shoulder as she mixes chemicals.
You're pouring too much.
Startled, Francine almost spills the mixture.
Kirk, stop it. Can't you see I'm nervous enough? I want to find a cure as much as you, but we won't get anywhere with you constantly on my back.
He turns away from her. Later, a spinning chemical mixer. It stops. Francine pulls a test tube from it. She transfers its contents to a syringe.
This is it.
Mandat rises from his perch in the corner. He offers his arm to her. She swabs it with alcohol, then injects the concoction into him. He closes his eyes, waiting for a reaction. Nothing.
Didn't work.
Give it time.
Initial transformation was immediate.
You can't give up. Maybe the next batch.
No next batch.
He smashes various pieces of equipment on the shelves.
Crane took everything from me.
No, not everything.
Doesn't matter. I'm damned to this existence.
He skulks away with his head lowered. Interior Batcave. Bruce holds a strand of straw with tweezers. Dick watches.
You found us in his office?
Dick nods.
That means Crane is definitely alive and extremely dangerous. You didn't see him.
No.
Bruce stares at Dick, but lets it drop.
I want you to research Crane's background. Think of everything you can on him. Job history, psychological profiles, anything that.
Dick drops a flash drive or disc on the desk.
What's that?
Crane's personal file from Holloway's office. We've had to break into the encryption.
Don't give it to me. It's your case, detective.
Exterior Linkstrom home night. Francine stares up at the night sky.
Expecting someone?
Startled, Francine spins, composes herself. Batman perches on the roof in shadow.
I thought you had retired.
As far as everyone's concerned, I have.
Why are you here?
You may be in danger.
How?
Have you had contact with your husband? His disappearance.
What? No, of course not.
He turns away from him, not the best sell.
I have reason to believe he may be the victim of his own experiments. If I'm right, he's a danger to himself, to Gotham, and to you.
He faces him again.
He would never hurt me.
Can you be sure? Mrs. Langstrom, if you know where Kirk is, please, I need your help. And so does he.
Francine stares him in the eye. Interior University Clock Tower Belfry, night. The trapdoor swings open. Francine enters. Man-Bat hangs upside down. His eyes flick open.
See,
She steps aside to reveal Batman standing near the trapdoor. Man-Bat springs forward, claws outstretched.
Kirk, no!
Man-Bat halts in mid-leap but hisses at Batman.
leave me alone. You fight criminals. I'm no criminal.
I'm not here to fight, Dr. Langstrom.
Man-Bat looks to Francine, confused and angry.
I'm sorry, Kirk, but he needs to talk to you.
No more talk.
It's important. Please. For me.
He caresses him, but he refuses to calm down.
Jonathan Crane murdered Dean Hallowell this evening.
Francine gasps. Batman has Man-Bat's attention.
I need to know why you attacked Crane. Did he do this to you?
Hallowell's death is on your hands. If you hadn't stopped me, I would have killed Crane.
He needs to be helped, like you.
I am beyond help.
He's here for you, Kirk. Maybe together you can find a way to reverse this.
No. We already tried and failed. There is no cure.
Give him a chance.
Maybe I enjoy the new me.
Hurt, Francine turns away.
If you think your appearance will justify your actions, you're wrong. You can't hide behind that.
You're a freak because you choose to be. I can't remove my mask.
You're only a monster if you allow it. You have a choice. If you give in to hatred and revenge, you really will become a monster.
Man-Bat returns to the shadows.
Get out of here.
I used to believe that if I were feared, I would no longer be afraid. But I was wrong. It's up to you, Kirk. You have to figure out who you really are, man or monster.
This is our third meeting, and you're still alive. If we meet again, that's going to change.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Langstrom. It seems your husband is still missing.
He exits.
No one will stand between me and Crane's death.
Francine faces Man-Bat again.
Does that include me?
Does not wait for an answer. Exits. Interior Batcave. Removing his costume, Bruce approaches Dick, who sits at the computer. A variety of information fills the spinning monitors.
I managed to crack Crane's personal files. We're dealing with quite a case here.
Explain.
For starters, he was born with congenital alangasia. I'll get that right. A rare condition that deadens his nervous system.
That explains why he apparently doesn't feel pain.
According to Hallowell's records, Crane's emotional reactions heightened as a result of this loss.
The body will overstimulate one sense if deprived of another.
The monitors change to reflect case photos. Young Jonathan standing by Mr. Crane, police reports, various dwellings, the old barn from Jonathan's childhood.
Apparently, it caused quite a few problems in his youth. He was unable to cope with even the slightest confrontation. His father kept moving them from place to place every time Jonathan suffered an emotional episode. Eventually, they settled on a farm outside Gotham.
to be isolated from the rest of the world, no doubt.
Well, that was the plan. However, shortly after the disappearance of some local boys, he and his father abandoned the farm to avoid implication.
Does it say whether or not Crane confessed to anything?
Not directly, but Hollowell felt he might have been repressing a painful memory. Better living through denial.
Bruce paces, thinking.
What if Crane grew tired of running?
Well, he would have had to face his problems instead.
He places his chin in his hand, deep in thought.
Fight or flight. He lectured on that just before my incident. He believed that a person could grow physically stronger from fear.
And if that emotion prompted a stability in his own turbulent psyche,
He could have developed a lifelong obsession with it.
and a craving for it.
And now we can satisfy that craving by artificially instilling terror in others.
It doesn't stop there. His desire for revenge is just as strong. And as we both know, one act of vengeance only builds the need for more.
So how do you stop a man who feels no pain and no fear?
Interior farmhouse night. The old rundown farmhouse resembles a makeshift laboratory lit by gas lamps and candles. A bubbling labyrinth of tubes and beakers spread about. Scarecrow sharpens the blade of his scythe at a stone wheel. Sparks fly. The crow sits nearby watching him.
I am but a breath of distant rumblings. The whisper ends fears.
He moves to a table and proceeds to assemble small canisters by connecting them to an array of tubes. Exterior downtown Gotham City, day. Bruce walks down the sidewalk in a business suit among other pedestrians. As he passes a group of homeless at the entrance of an alley, an ominous figure wearing an old overcoat and hat steps into the daylight. Shadow obscures his face. The figure follows the unaware Bruce at a distance. Exterior Wayne Enterprises, day. Bruce stops at the office building, takes a deep breath, and then enters. The mirrored doors swing shut, revealing their reflection of the figure. Interior Wayne Enterprises, day. Bruce crosses the cavernous lobby and walks past the receptionist at the front desk.
Mr. Wayne, it's a good to see you back, sir.
Thanks. Good to be back.
How are you feeling? I heard you were under the weather.
Not quite my old self just yet.
Mhm.
He proceeds to the bank of elevators. Elevator. The numbers pass quickly and stop at the top floor. The door opens before Bruce. Scarecrow blocks his exit.
Hello, Mr. Wayne.
Scarecrow stretches out his arm towards Bruce. A cloud of gas sprays out of the sleeve. Bruce coughs and drops to his knees. Scarecrow reaches into the elevator and presses the button.
You're going down.
The effects of the gas take hold of Bruce. The doors close in front of Scarecrow and vanish. The elevator itself goes black and wavers into interior Bruce's living room, night. Bruce walks towards the blazing fireplace. Thomas and Martha Wayne sit on the couch with their backs to him. As he approaches them, they stand and face him. A drink falls from Martha's hand, shattering and splashing across the floor.
Are you?
How'd you get in my house?
Mom, Dad, it's me, Bruce.
You're not Bruce?
She breaks down crying. Thomas consoles her.
You look nothing like our son.
Bruce realizes he is now in the bat suit.
No, look, it's me.
He rips off his cowl, but there's another underneath.
No,
He rips that mask off, but there is yet another and another. He becomes frantic as the cycle continues.
What are you?
Interior elevator, day. The door opens. A businesswoman starts to walk in. Wide-eyed, she sees Bruce crouching on the floor, clothing in disarray, covered in sweat. The scratch on his cheek has opened. His expression is wild. He recovers and straightens his tie. The woman sidesteps away as the doors close. Exterior Wayne Manor, dusk. The sun sets behind the house. A lone figure stands on the balcony. Bruce's balcony. Bruce leans against the railing, gazing at Gotham. Dick appears in the doorway behind him.
Bruce, Alfred said you wanted to see me.
I've been thinking about what you said before. I've been pushing you away. You and everything else.
Dick joins Bruce at the railing.
Crane's pheromones made me realize the only thing that scared me was myself. I haven't known any other life outside of Batman. I was afraid that role would consume my existence, or grow old and die without ever enjoying the life as Bruce Wayne. So I hung up the butt suit, but suppressing half of my identity sent the other into a downward spiral. I realized if I run away from who I am, I'm nothing.
Sounds like Crane actually helped you when he intended to hurt you.
Dick, before you moved in with me, you were ready to face the world on your own. I prevented that. Since then, I've been running your life. Ultimately, I wanted you to take over as Batman.
Dick is taken aback.
There's only one Batman. I could never replace you.
In time, you could. The right education, the right training. But I now know that that's not my decision to make. It's yours. You have to choose your own path.
Alfred appears at the doorway holding an invitation.
Excuse me for interrupting. Master Bruce, there is a rather trivial matter of tonight's university fundraiser. Do you plan to attend?
That's it!
What?
That's where Crane will strike next. All the university bigwigs will be there. Perfect opportunity for revenge.
I shall let them know not to expect Bruce Wayne.
A squadron of bats depart the estate grounds towards the sunset. Exterior Gotham State University, dusk. As the bats pass overhead, the silhouette of Man-Bat departs the clock tower and joins them. Together they fly into the darkening sky. Exterior Arkham Asylum, night. Storm clouds shroud the demonic spires of the hospital like something out of a horror story. Entrance. A guard rests near the closed door and yawns. His reverie breaks when a quick flash of lightning reveals Scarecrow's gangly form atop Arkham's gate. Another flash, Scarecrow is gone. The guard approaches the gate but finds nothing. He turns, heading back to his post. A noose drops over his head and hoists him into the air. His body spasms and goes limp. Scarecrow dismounts the gate and relieves the dead guard of his keys. He gives the legs a push. The body swings. Interior Arkham Asylum corridor, night. An eerie silence blankets the place. A faint whistling drifts down the long, dark hall to the tune of If I Only Had a Brain. Scarecrow dances to the beat of the song. As he nears the end of the refrain, an orderly rounds the corner, heeding the tune. In a fluid movement, Scarecrow uses a sickle to slice the surprised guard's throat. Scarecrow finishes the last 6 notes of the tune and continues on his way. Entrance to holding cell room. An attendant stands at his post by the closed gate. Scarecrow
What the hell?
Scarecrow draws a short-handled spade from his pouch and throws it at the attendant. The weapon finds its mark. The attendant drops to the floor. Jay's cell. The door breaking in the near darkness of the cell. Jay looks up and sees Scarecrow standing in the doorway.
Anxious to fly this cuckoo's nest, Jaybird?
Control booth. Dr. Burton and 2 guards gather around the video monitors with shocked expressions. On the screens, inmates course through the corridors and out the front door. Call the police!
Shall we call them?
All turn to see Scarecrow at the doorway, scythe in hand. He spins it around like a baton and attacks. Interior Batcave. Batman and Robin walk down the steps to the main platform dressed in newly designed suits.
Ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Alfred bursts in.
Excuse me, sirs. There seems to be a disturbance at the Arkham Asylum.
Could we be wrong about the university?
Arkham also fired him.
I'll cover the dinner while you check out the asylum. You can't be in both places at once.
Are you sure you'll be okay by yourself?
You have nothing to fear.
The night is still young.
Moments later, the Batmobile's engines fire up. Flames shoot out of the rear jet exhaust. The vehicle takes off down the long tunnel. Exterior Batcave exit, night. The Batmobile bursts out of the hidden access. Exterior Gotham City, night. The Batmobile races through the city streets. Interior Batmobile, night. Batman drives. A buzz from his helmet communicator, who activates it.
Go ahead.
Exterior University rooftop, night. Robin wears a tiny headset communicator. He watches as guests arrive for the dinner party, dressed to the nines. They enter the grand hall.
I'm in position. No sign of Crane.
Keep me posted. I'll let you know how things go at Arkham.
Robin moves to another vantage point. Exterior Arkham Asylum, night. The Batmobile drives up to the winding path and crests a hill. Interior Batmobile. The headlights illuminate dozens of patients wandering the grounds in their hospital gown, some in straitjackets. Several police officers round them up. Batman flips a switch. The engine noise becomes a hum. Exterior Arkham Asylum. The Batmobile's headlights turn off and the car stops on the outskirts of the property, lost amidst the darkness. A bat logo-shaped dish rises from the car and points towards the front lawn. Commissioner Gordon oversees the crime scene. Interior Batmobile. Batman listens.
Are all the inmates accounted for?
All except one. The Birdman of Arkham.
What about maximum security?
We're lucky. It was left untouched.
Exterior Arkham Asylum. Gordon talks to the detective.
Casualties?
6 dead, including Dr. Burton, 4 others wounded. Dr. Quinzel is in critical condition.
Who's responsible?
The surveillance cameras reveal someone dressed as a scarecrow.
An engine roars to life. Gordon whips around and sees the Batmobile race away at top speed. A smile crosses his face.
It's good to have you back.
Interior Batmobile. Batman activates his communicator as he drives.
Robin, it was a diversion. Keep your eye open for the Scarecrow.
Interior University Grand Hall. In the rafters, Robin pales, who deactivates his communicator.
Scarecrow.
Stage. The crowd applauds as Francine approaches the microphone.
Thank you. This year, Gotham State University has seen many monumental achievements, but it also has experienced its share of tragedies. I would like to take this opportunity to observe a moment of silence for the late Dean Hall.
A nervous chattering passes through the audience. Confused, Francine turns and sees a figure in a huge pumpkin head, an oversized burlap cloak waltzes behind her around the stage. Its gangly limbs flow. In one hand wields a menacing scythe. Rafters. Robin tenses and tightens his grip on a beam as he watches the show on the stage below with puzzlement. Stage. The pumpkin head scales the podium, crouches on top, and waves its scythe before the audience. The audience applauds. Francine moves close to a regent.
Isn't that a little inappropriate?
Wasn't my idea.
The pumpkin head bows and moves to Francine's side. Its body turns towards her, but the head remains facing the opposite direction. It raises its hands and spins the grinning jack-o'-lantern face towards her, then removes it from the body. Underneath the equally menacing and grinning new face of Jonathan, a patchwork quilt of flesh held together by stitches and cauterized skin, the face of a living scarecrow. Francine gasps.
Jonathan!
Nice party. In fact, it's a gas.
He throws the pumpkin into the crowd. It smashes against the floor and explodes in an enormous cloud of gas. The crowd succumbs to incredible terror as the gas spreads. Scarecrow goes to the edge of the stage, throws off his cloak, and brandishes his scythe.
Let the nightmares begin.
Rafters. Robin pounds on a beam with his fist. He activates his communicator.
Batman, he's here.
I'm about 3 minutes out.
Robin freezes, observes the commotion below, shuts his eyes.
Move it, Grayson. You can do this.
He opens his eyes, then places the gas mask over his face. Stage. Scarecrow inhales deeply.
Chaos, panic, mayhem. My work here is done.
A chair smashes across his face. He falls to the floor, angry but unhurt. Francine towers over him, wielding a chair. He throws a spade at her. The blade barely misses her face, but the handle catches her above the eye. She collapses. Rafters. Robin removes a flare gun from his utility belt and fires it at the overhead sprinklers. The sprinklers go off, raining water onto the terror-stricken crowd. The gas dissipates. Stage. Scarecrow spins towards the crowd, sees the gas and its effects diminishing.
No.
A grappling hook zips by his head and impinges behind him, trailing a cable from the rafters. Robin slides down the cable towards Scarecrow.
Birds are supposed to be afraid of scarecrows.
He uses his scythe to slice the cable. Robin plunges into the chaos of the crowd.
Join the flock.
Scarecrow opens a trapdoor. Hundreds of crazed crows fly out into the crowd. Grand Hall. Panic ensues. Some run screaming for the exits. The doors won't budge. A throng of people pile against them. Robin tries to make his way through the crowd to the door. Stage. Scarecrow grabs Francine's arm with his free hand. The other still holds the scythe.
You're last on my list.
She resists and punches him in the face. Scarecrow pulls a loose stitch out of his face, regards it, then grins. A loud crash draws Scarecrow's attention towards the rafters. Man-Bat swoops towards the stage through the water and the bird, claws outstretched, teeth gnashing. Scarecrow pulls Francine in front of him. Man-Bat withdraws his attack and lands on the stage, snarling at Scarecrow.
Kirk, help me!
Kirk, my old friend, I've heard of getting into your work, but it seems you let your work get into you.
Man-Bat lunges, but Scarecrow draws the scythe and places it to Francine's. Man-Bat holds his ground. Grand Hall. Unable to move through the crowd piled against the double doors, Robin throws his talon over their heads. It wedges itself in the space between the doors, then pops with a plume of smoke. The doors open and the people flood out. Stage, circling each other. Scarecrow ends against the back wall of the stage.
Let her go. This is between you and me.
No, she is between you and me.
He notices the lighting array above Man-Bat and slices several ropes tied to sandbags. The lighting grid crashes down onto Man-Bat, pinning him to the stage and knocking him unconscious.
Well, my dear, perhaps you're not last after all.
He pulls Francine into the backstage area. Robin makes his way to the stage. He goes to Man-Bat, who regains consciousness. Exterior Gotham State University, night. Scarecrow drags Francine out of the Grand Hall. He breaks away from him, only to run into a huge dark shape. An enormous black horse, Nightmare, rears up at her. Francine falls to the ground, terrified. Scarecrow covers her mouth with an old rag. She loses consciousness. He lifts her and drapes her over Nightmare's back, then climbs onto the beast himself.
Let's go, Nightmare. I have a reunion to plan.
He snaps the reins. Nightmare rears and takes off in a cloud of dust. Parking lot. The Batmobile bursts onto the scene, swerving around stationary vehicles. Interior Batmobile. Batman sees Scarecrow riding across the campus ground. He activates his communicator.
I found Crane. Robin. Robin, respond.
No response. Batman stares towards the Grand Hall. Exterior parking lot. The Batmobile races after Scarecrow, who disappears on the horse into the neighboring woods. Interior University Grand Hall. Robin lifts the lighting grid off Man-Bat, who shakes his head to regain his senses.
It'll help, Dr. Langstrom.
Man-Bat focuses on Robin, rises, then grabs Robin.
Where's Crane?
Batman's on him.
He's my kill.
Killing Crane won't help anything. It won't make the rage or the pain go away. If you go through with it, you'll truly become an animal.
He pulls Robin closer.
Take a good look.
I have reasons to hate Crane as much as anyone, but...
Man-Bat releases Robin and rears up.
I don't care about you or your reasons. Crane took my wife.
We'll stop him together.
No. I'll be the monster for both of us.
Uncertain, the Regent approaches Man-Bat from behind and taps him on the shoulder.
Batman?
Man-Bat grabs the Regent by the lapels and pulls him close, face to face.
What are you?
I'm Man-Bat.
He shoves the Regent away. Man-Bat goes airborne, gliding over the heads of the crowd and out an exit. Exterior field, night, the chase is on. Scarecrow on horseback crests a hill. Behind him, the Batmobile bounds over the hill. Its off-road capabilities appear limited. Interior Batmobile. Batman tries to steer, but the terrain gives him problems. He flips a switch. The windshield converts to a green night vision gear. Exterior field. Scarecrow guides Nightmare into a wooded area. The Batmobile finds a suitable opening and follows. Woods. Nightmare gallops through the dense forest. The Batmobile swerves around upright and down trees. Interior Batmobile. The night vision windshield displays the glowing green image of horse and rider cutting through the forest ahead. Batman concentrates on his driving, narrowly dodging a tree. Exterior woods. Gripping the reins, Scarecrow scrutinizes the pursuing vehicle. He spots a dense fog bank and veers Nightmare towards it, but disappearing into the fog. Interior Batmobile. The night vision image of the horse vanishes. The pale trees pass by until the blank green of the fog fills the windshield. Exterior fog bank. The Batmobile cuts through the dense cloud. Scarecrow prods Nightmare through the swirling mist. Interior Batmobile. The green windshield gives no detail to the path ahead. Batman deactivates the night vision. As the windshield returns to normal, Batman sees Nightmare in mid-leap. The resulting swish of fog reveals a huge downed tree directly in the Batmobile's path. Batman's eyes widen beneath the cowl. Exterior fog bank. The Batmobile rams into the tree out of commission. Woods. Nightmare completes its leap and Scarecrow brings it to a halt. He glances behind him. No movement sound within the fog behind him.
I guess he couldn't see the trees for the forest.
Batman bursts from the fog and lands in a crouch in a low-lying trench. He looks up at Scarecrow, their eyes locked.
Nature 1, Technology 0.
Scarecrow pulls on the reins. Nightmare rears up and bolts away, disappearing into the fog and trees. The sound of hooves echoes. Interior barn, night. Francine, unconscious and upright, tied to a wooden post. Scarecrow places smelling salts under her nose. She jolts awake.
What? Where? Jonathan?
He moves in close to her face.
No. Scarecrow.
She struggles but discovers her binds. Scarecrow sniffs the air around her, receiving pleasure.
Good.
What are you doing?
Exterior sky, night. Man-Bat soars, hunting.
Let me go.
Man-Bat's ears perk up. He changes direction and heads away from Gotham City. Exterior woods, night. Batman sprints to the trees, guided by a handheld GPS, which displays a nearby road.
Not another one, sir.
No, time for lecture, Alfred. I need immediate transportation.
Dirt road. Batman emerges from the woods.
My apologies. I did not search for this. I believe that has already been arranged.
Headlights crest the hill behind Batman, accompanied by the unique whine of an electric motor. The approaching vehicle races up to him and comes to a clean stop, kicking up a cloud of dust. As it settles, the vehicle comes into view. A specialized roadster adorned with Robin's logo, the Roadrunner. The driver's side window rolls down, revealing Robin behind the wheel.
Need a lift?
Batman gets in. Interior Roadrunner night. Batman buckles himself in.
Where to?
I'm not sure. Finding Krinigans like looking for a proverbial needle in a haystack.
Maybe not. His father's farm is only a few miles out of town as the crow flies. Perhaps he's heading back to where it all began.
He guns the motor. Exterior dirt road night. The electric whine intensifies. The Roadrunner peels out and tears down the road, leaving a plume of dirt and stones in its wake. Exterior barn. Man-Bat circles the barn, fluttering around it like a moth around a light. His ears perk up. Interior barn, night, echolocation. Sound waves travel through the barn, revealing its content. At one end, Francine stands tied to stake over a pile of hay. A semicircle of floor-anchored torches burn around her. No one else appears to be home. Exterior barn. Man-Bat arcs into the sky, then dives through a hole in the roof. Interior barn. Dry splinters rain down as Man-Bat bursts from the ceiling. He glides towards Francine.
Kirk, no!
A loud screeching noise blares, causing Man-Bat to cover his ears and scream. He bounces off of walls, then drops to the floor and flails about. Scarecrow steps out of the shadows with a huge cornucopia to his lips. His pet crow sits on his shoulder. He stops blowing the horn. Man-Bat looks up at him.
Happy Halloween.
Man-Bat jumps up, dazed but ready to pounce. The crow caws and flies away. Scarecrow drops the cornucopia, grabs a handheld torch, and holds it over the hay beneath Francine.
Not yet.
Man-Bat bares his teeth but remains in place.
That's good. Apparently you're trainable. Maybe I should make you my pet.
I'm gonna kill you, Crane.
How predatory. You see, Kirk, you have no imagination. All you know is your work. Isn't that right, Francine?
He mumbles something under the gag. Scarecrow smiles.
I, on the other hand, have a vivid imagination. I suppose a childhood like mine would foster such. Though the cost be my very soul, I shall reap vengeance in a whirlwind of fear.
He touches the sutures on his face.
I still owe you one, my friend. Maybe I can just take it out in trade.
Man-Bat lunges, but Scarecrow waves the torch in front of him, keeping it there.
I mean it. She will die if you don't stay back. That would be such a waste. I have so many plans for her.
I thought I was the monster.
Exterior road outside farm, night. The Roadrunner comes to a stop next to the decrepit fence containing the weathered cornfield. Batman and Robin climb out and survey their surroundings.
How do we proceed?
Your call.
Robin reaches into the vehicle and flips a switch on the Roadrunner's dash. A section pole extends from the vehicle. Smaller grips flip out of it at regular intervals like a trapeze pole. Twin cables shoot from the top of the pole towards the barn. The cables pull taut as the grappling hooks grip the barn. Batman and Robin climb up the pole, fasten handles to the cable, and hit buttons on the handle. Small jets fire, sending them traveling across the cornfield. As Robin skims over the dried corn, a stuffed Scarecrow pops up in front of him. He slams into it and falls into the cornfield. The Scarecrow falls over face first. Batman notices Robin's disappearance.
Robin.
He lets go and drops from the cable. Robin lies on the ground, opens his eyes to find the Scarecrow on top of him. Gas begins to seep out of the Scarecrow's face. Robin grabs for the gas mask on his belt. Gas sprays into his face. Batman runs to the dried corn stalks towards him. Robin throws the Scarecrow off of him, jumps to his feet, coughing and gagging.
Richard?
Robin looks down at the Scarecrow. As it picks itself up off the ground, it morphs into Dick's mom, Mary Grayson, dressed in the Flying Grayson's outfit. However, her face is that of a Scarecrow.
Mom?
Why have you done this?
Done what?
Robin reaches for his mom, who crumbles into dust and straw. John Grayson, also a Scarecrow dressed in the Flying Grayson's outfit, appears at his side.
You knew better than to come.
What are you talking about, Dad?
John Grayson also disintegrates.
You should have left Robin well enough. Oh,
Robin turns to find Alfred, who has now also become a Scarecrow.
you're responsible for this.
He motions to the corn behind him. The stalks part, revealing the dried remains of a human body, wearing a tattered batsuit tied to a post with its arms outstretched. Robin takes a step towards the atrocity.
No!
The batsuit corpse's arms reach out and grab Robin's shoulders. Robin screams. In reality, the real Batman shakes Robin by the shoulders. Robin struggles.
Robin. It's just an hallucination.
Robin's loud eyes focus on Batman. Robin relaxes. Interior barn, night. Scarecrow paces between Man-Bat and Francine, taunting Man-Bat by swinging the torch around Francine.
She doesn't have to suffer. I propose an alliance. By that gruesome face of yours is a living nightmare. Our union is only natural. Our vows were blood made.
He runs his finger along his sutures.
You're insane.
I created you. My unexpected weapon of fear.
I almost feel sorry for you.
Feel sorry. Me? Why, Kirk, it seems that your humanity is returning. You wouldn't know it by looking at you, though. I said you had no imagination.
Scarecrow turns to his mate the Hague.
Only cowards take hostages.
Scarecrow pauses.
What are you afraid of, Jonathan?
Flashback. Interior barn day. Mr. Crane looms over young Jonathan.
You know what to do.
Flashback ends. Interior barn night. Scarecrow snaps back to the present situation.
I'm not afraid of anything. Not anymore. Particularly you.
He throws the torch at Man-Bat, who squeals and knocks it against the wall, extinguishing the flames. Scarecrow draws his pitchfork and threatens Man-Bat with it. Man-Bat growls and attains a fighting stance. They circle each other.
Out of fear you were created. By fear you will die.
They charge each other. Exterior cornfield night. Batman consoles Robin.
Are you sure you're up to this?
No, but it's time I faced him. If I don't, then the fear will be in control, and he will have won.
Batman claps Robin's shoulder and starts for the barn.
There's one other thing.
Batman stops and faces Robin.
I don't think I could stand losing you like I lost my parents.
I don't plan to go away anytime soon.
Together they head for the barn. Interior barn. Scarecrow and Man-Bat spar. Scarecrow thrusts the pitchfork at Man-Bat, who parries with his wings. Scarecrow's philosophy forces Man-Bat back. Rage consumes Man-Bat, who charges. Scarecrow avoids him, but Man-Bat recovers. Scarecrow rolls as Man-Bat flies over him. Scarecrow throws the pitchfork, pinning Man-Bat to the wall by his wing. Man-Bat squeals. Scarecrow leaps to his feet and throws another farm utensil at Man-Bat before he can free himself. It sticks through the other wing, immobilizing him. He squeals again. Walking up to Man-Bat, Scarecrow sniffs the air.
The smell of your fear even overcomes your animal stench.
Man-Bat struggles in pain. Scarecrow holds up a machete.
Perhaps I can relieve you of those pesky wings.
A flying batarang knocks the machete out of his hand. Scarecrow spins around to face Batman at the far end of the barn.
Move away from him, Crane.
I see you made it through my maze.
Batman advances at Scarecrow.
You're throwing away everything you've achieved. Your practice, your education, your life.
Those things were taken from me.
Out of sight from Scarecrow, Robin stealthily makes his way towards Francine, using the various ancient tractors as cover.
Be responsible for your own actions. There is help available. You of all people should know that.
Where? At Arkham? I know what goes on behind those walls. You don't know me. How could you understand?
I was once like you. We are both created by fear and consumed by vengeance. But I chose a different path. I devote my life to helping people. As you once did, Doctor.
Robin draws nearer to Francine's unlit pyre.
Don't call me that. I am no longer Jonathan Crane. I am the sower of men's fears. I am the Scarecrow.
Jonathan Crane is still part of you.
I see you brought your crony.
He motions to Robin, having obviously spotted him.
Say hello to mine.
Jay drops from the rafters on top of Robin, his body covered by various feathers.
Eat crow.
Scarecrow's pet crow flies past its master and claws at Batman's face. His head snaps aside as the crow flies away. A long scratch mark mirrors the one he received from Man-Bat earlier. Scarecrow uses the distraction to unsling his sights and threatens Batman. Batman hits a button on his belt. A flexible metallic armor envelops the Batsuit.
How appropriate. Scarecrow versus the Tin Man.
We're tapped. Robin and Jay wrestle on the floor. Jay attempts to strangle Robin, but Robin kicks him away. Jay lunges at him again. They roll across the floor, feathers flying. A spasm of pain shoots through Man-Bat. He shudders. His face distorts, reverting to human. The holes in his wings begin to expand, shedding. Scarecrow's scythe clangs against Batman's armor. Robin's acrobatics avoid Jay's attacks. Robin lands a few blows to Jay's pressure points, but the effect is minimal. Jay manages to grab him and throw him through a stall wall. Batman takes the offensive, but Scarecrow's agility helps him avoid serious injury or capture. Scarecrow grabs a rope hanging from the ceiling and slices through a second rope. He quickly rises into the rafters. Batman fires his grappling hook. He flies upward. Rafters. Batman releases the cable and grabs a beam. As he pulls himself up, he must duck the blade of a scythe swinging towards his head. Scarecrow assaults Batman with the scythe, both with the blade and the handle, not giving him a chance to gain his footing. The handle catches Batman on the side of his head and he plummets.
Don't you just love the fall?
Barn floor. Batman crashes through the rotting wood planks with a spray of hay. Barn basement. Batman erupts through the ceiling and lands harshly as debris rains on top of him. Barn stalls. Robin collides against the wall. Jay charges. Robin shoots a bolo, which wraps around Jay. Jay flexes his muscles, breaks the cable, and charges Robin again. Barn floor. Man-Bat's hair retracts, giving him more human features. He pulls his receding wings from their stakes and drops to the floor, writhing in agony. The shedding continues. Scarecrow dives from the rafters, landing in a crouch before Man-Bat. He rises with his gangly arms outstretched.
The game's not over, Kirk.
Man-Bat looks up. His transformation continues.
Pleasant surprise. And what appropriate timing.
Scarecrow tips over one of the torches. It falls onto the hay, which ignites and spreads towards Francine.
For your trial by fire, whom shall you choose? Me, the defenseless object of your rage and vengeance, or her?
Scarecrow points towards Francine with his bony finger.
Burning love of your life. Are you man enough to decide?
Man-Bat rises and spreads his wings.
There's just enough monster left.
He springs towards Scarecrow, but just misses him. Instead, he heads for Francine, racing the fire's spread. Perching on the stake, he slashes Francine's bonds and lifts her away from the fire. He carries her across the bond towards a distant opening. Man-Bat convulses again, his wings wither. He and Francine drop to the ground as his transformations continue.
Oh my God, Kirk!
He looks up at her. His eyes roll back and he loses consciousness. Barn basement. Batman crawls out from underneath the debris. Glowing embers rain down onto him from the ceiling. Smoke pours into the holes, cracks, and seams. Barn floor. Robin lands blow after blow on Jay, who seems unaffected. Robin tired.
What the hell are you?
Smoke wafts into the stall. A wall catches on fire. Robin notices something high in the ceiling near Jay. Jay picks up a large board and hurls it at Robin. Robin times a roundhouse kick and sends the board back into Jay, knocking him away. Taking advantage of the distraction, Robin throws his talon into the rafters. In the rafters, the talon strikes a grain spout. Barn floor. Jay recovers and charges Robin. Grain pours onto him, burying him. The fire surrounds Kirk and Francine. She grabs him by his armpits and drags him across the floor. A flaming rafter crashes to the floor, blocking their way. Barn basement. Batman deactivates the armor on the Batsuit. The burning ceiling caves in around him. He runs further into the basement. Barn floor. The smoke thickens, the flames spread. Robin proceeds through the inferno as pieces of the floor disappear around him. He finds himself face to face with Scarecrow.
I see the better bird won.
Robin freezes. Scarecrow inhales.
Fear from the boy wonder.
Sniffs again.
Wait a minute, I recognize that smell.
He circles Robin, who remains motionless.
Ever the loner, aren't you, Mr. Grayson? Where's your partner? He abandoned you?
He brings his face closer to Robin.
Or worse. What will you do now?
Robin kicks Scarecrow, who flies back and slams into the burning wall in which he had pinned Man-Bat.
I guess I'll take his place.
Robin approaches with resolve.
You don't scare me anymore.
How unfortunate.
Scarecrow pulls the pitchfork from the wall and throws it at Robin. Robin ducks. The pitchfork whizzes over his head. The pitchfork plunges into Jay, who stands behind Robin, ready to strike. Jay falls backwards, dead. Batman climbs through a hole in the floor near Kirk and Francine. Kirk regains consciousness. They're still drowsy.
How is he?
He'll be better once we get out of this inferno.
Agreed.
If you've got something on that belt that can get us out of here, use it.
Batman shoots a grappling hook through the ceiling. Robin walks towards a cornered Scarecrow.
You can't destroy me. Without pain, how do you appreciate healing?
The irony, Doctor. Despite your best intentions, the suffering you cause actually brought about healing. Your theories were half right.
Shut up.
My fear did make me stronger, but only after I faced it.
Flaming Raptor crashes down nearby. Exterior barn rooftop, night. Batman and Francine support Kirk between themselves as they run across the roof, which caves in around them. Batman pulls a canister from his utility belt and throws it to the ground. It explodes and inflates into a large airbag.
Ready?
Kirk gives a shaky nod. Francine gives her assent. Batman grabs hold of them and jumps. On the ground, Batman, Kirk, and Francine land on the airbag, which deflates upon impact. Interior barn, night. Robin moves closer to Scarecrow.
Even though I'd love to see you dead, I think you'd be better served in Arkham.
What's the difference?
What are you afraid of, Doctor?
Robin reaches out to him. Scarecrow considers the offer, looks around him with dawning realization, sighs.
Time to reap what I have sown.
He extends his hand. As Robin reaches to help him, he notices something palmed in Scarecrow's fist. Robin grabs Scarecrow's wrist and twists his arm back towards his face. A cloud of pheromone gas erupts, striking Scarecrow full on in the face. Robin steps back out of the range of his path. Scarecrow hunches over, coughing and gagging. Flames spread across the floor between Robin and Scarecrow. Scarecrow sits up, opens his eyes. The flames around him wink out. The barn returns to the state it was in during Jonathan's youth. Scarecrow drops to the floor in a cowering position. The wall of fire between him and Robin extinguishes. As Robin approaches, he morphs into Mr. Crane. Pitchfork appears in his hand. He towers over Scarecrow.
Boy, you can't let people like that terrorize you your whole life.
Mr. Crane thrusts the pitchfork into the ground. Scarecrow stares at it, and a smile crosses his face.
You know what you must do?
He kneels down to face his son, no longer Scarecrow, but replaced by young Jonathan.
Fear can't rule you after your mother passed away. I was scared to raise you by myself, but I like a man I faced and didn't let it be at best me. You have to do the same.
They hurt me. I want to hurt them back.
Don't concern yourself with them. Revenge will only consume you. Let it go, son. Let it go.
He reaches out to hug his son. As Jonathan returns the embrace, Mr. Crane vanishes. Jonathan's arms grasp air. Simultaneously, young Jonathan morphs back into Scarecrow. Scarecrow stands and regards his clothing, the exact same as what his father had just been wearing. The barn returns to its present condition. Robin watches from the other side of the wall of fire. Scarecrow walks towards them and stops at the flames. They stare at one another.
I know what I must do.
No!
Robin moves to stop him, but the Inferno prevents it. Scarecrow passes his arm through the fire, which spreads up his sleeve. He examines his burning arm and smiles at Robin. The flames engulf him. The roof crashes down around Robin, obscuring Scarecrow from sight. Robin searches for an exit. No luck. The walls crumble and fall in towards him. Robin flips a switch on his utility belt. Exterior barn. Batman pulls Kirk and Francine to a safe distance away from the burning barn. It starts to collapse.
Robin!
He runs towards the barn. Something erupts from the blazing timber and arcs through the air towards him. Robin drops to the ground, wrapped in his smoldering cape. He throws it off. Twin paws on either side of his belt emit their last bits of exhaust.
Are you okay? Sorry I left you back there.
About time I took care of myself.
Crane,
Robin shakes his head.
Think we've seen the last of him.
Maybe. But like we once said, fear is eternal.
Batman and Robin join Kirk and Francine. They force him watch the remains of the barn burn to embers. Interior Francine's bedroom dawn. Francine wakes up and finds herself alone in the bed except for Valerie, who lies at her feet.
Kirk?
She climbs out of bed. Valerie jumps to the floor. She sees Kirk outside on the balcony. Exterior links from home. A foggy morning. Kirk stands on the balcony with his back to the bedroom. He examines his hands. Francine walks up to him and touches his shoulder.
Anxious to fly again?
Flying is for animals, not men.
He turns him around to face her and takes his chin in hand.
To me, there was only the man.
But it took the monster to make me realize how much I love you.
I brought you something.
She holds his hearing aid out to him. He closes her fingers around it.
Funny thing, I don't need it anymore.
He kisses her. Exterior Wayne Manor day. In the driveway, Bruce and Alfred wait next to a motorcycle. Dick exits the house dressed for travel with a packed bag. He affixes the bag to the motorcycle and faces Bruce.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Someone once told me I need to find out who Dick Grayson's apart from Robin. Bruce, I'm honored that you felt I could ever replace you. Maybe one day when you're truly ready to retire. But you're right. I need to discover my own path.
It has been a true pleasure having you in this household, son.
Dick shakes Alfred's hand.
Thanks, Al. I appreciate everything you've done for me.
May all your adventures be rewarding.
Alfred releases Dick's hand, then turns and walks to the porch.
What about you? Are you going to be all right?
Bruce nods his head and smiles.
Yeah. I think Batman has a few good years left in him. And so does Bruce Wayne.
I'll miss you.
They hug.
Stay out of trouble.
You know me.
He slips on his helmet, hops on the bike, and races away. Alfred joins Bruce. They watch Dick disappear down the long driveway. Interior Gordon's office, night. Gordon's silhouette appears behind the frosted glass of the door as he fumbles with the lock. He enters and notices an open window. A shaft of moonlight illuminates a box on his desk. Gordon opens the box. A red cellular phone with the Bat logo on it. Gordon rushes to the window and gazes out. Exterior Gotham City, night. The cityscape of Gotham. On the peak of one skyscraper, a silhouette crouches, veiled by shadow. Its eyes and chest emblem pierce the darkness. Its cape flutters in the breeze. Gotham City's protector has returned. A crow flies past Batman and glides down the side of the building, around fire escapes and signs to the street below and passes by. Exterior touches clothing shop, night. A quaint hole-in-the-wall establishment, no lights on. Behind the window, a hand pulls down a shade. A light comes on. The silhouette of a small man in a large top hat. Something is just beginning. Fade out. The end.
And that is, well, the very, very interesting Batman DarKnight. Thank you all very much for joining. I'm trying to get the top hat off there. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you at the next one.